There is no terrible way to win. There is only winning.
Let me drive. I will make a fool out of you.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You do it because you're driven.
I was beginning to think I'd never be anything more than a piston-happy, lead-foot punk. Then this starts to happen.
Somebody put it in your mind you gotta be perfect every time out or you're a failure. Well, forget that. Just forget it.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up? Are you ready to make more money in 1 year than your father made in his whole life? Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
When I won it was probably the last time I ever felt pure victory.
Because I'm quicker than all of you.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
But hell, isn't that what we're in this for? To stare death in the face and to cheat it? Come on, there's nobility in that. It's like being knights.
No pressure, nobody breathing down my back, just driving because I left it pure.
A lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Win or lose, put up or shut up.
Fine. Then let's race.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
A hearty good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along once again to the 2019 Motorsport UK British Car Championships from Shenington. What an amazing contrast from 24 hours ago when it was chilly, breezy, and the on-threat of rain was ever present. And then, of course, when the checkered flag fell for the senior final, we suddenly got a major downpour of 45 minutes in length, an absolute torrential rain. Well, 24 hours later, it is baking hot sunshine with cool breezes that treat us here at Shenington Kart Racing Club. And we are ready for the finals now as we get ourselves underway for the IAME classes of the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships. Jake Sanson overlooking Cafe Corner from the commentary box position here as we get ourselves prepared for the first of our two repêchages leading into the finals that will dictate what happens next in the British Kart Championships for the IAME Cadet, Mini X30, Junior X30 and Senior X30 classes. It's Junior X30 up first with their repêchage and the drivers who are now going to be competing for the final 6 places on the starting grid for the Junior X30 final. These guys have been battling all the way through the day, struggling to get themselves up to the top end of the field, and a few of them have not quite been able to book their places into the finals just yet, so that is what the task is now. They are basically getting themselves ready, suited and booted, and ready for the action as Max Meir takes up his residency on the pole position slot in the repêchage in front of Blake Anglis, Jamie Mead and Drew Davidson. Charlie Cole and Aaron Reshepi, the Swiss ace for Chaos Sport, are in the mix there in the top 6, along with Marcus Littlewood and Alex Moody, Dan Butterworth and Jacob McComb. And then Oliver Duffel, Mikai Singh and Harvey Ryby will take up the positions on the rest of the field. This is going to be a very competitive repêchage, in fact, as plenty of drivers will be competing for the top spot, and it's not very clear cut as to which of those drivers is going to get to the top. But it's been a very busy day at the office for the drivers in the time qualifying sessions and the heats. To give you an update as to how we have come through to this point, obviously for those who joined us yesterday, you'll have plenty of great racing to talk about listening back to the feed, but now we are getting ready for the action in the Junior X30 repêchage. So let's talk you quickly through the grid. The drivers have been sent out on the rolling laps, so let's quickly talk through the grid. Max Meir and Blake Anglis from Jamie Mead and Drew Davidson, Charlie Cole, Aaron Reshepi, Marcus Littlewood and Alex Moody from Dan Butterworth, Jacob McComb, Oliver Duffel, Mikai Singh and Harvey Ryby. Only the first 6 drivers across the finish line are going to be the ones who progress through to the finals. And it's been a very busy day at the office for the drivers so far. Pole position for that final later, with 2 wins out of 2, is Alessandro Serenetti, with Josh Rowledge a win and a 5th place, putting him 2nd on the grid, with a 2nd and a 3rd for Oliver Behrman, putting him in 3rd on the grid. Tom Edgar, a 2nd and a 4th, puts him P4 on that starting grid. But now we're booking the final few places on the grid. Max Meir, Blake Anglis, Jamie Mead, Drew Davidson, Charlie Cole and Aaron Reshepi. The whole field charging as we get underway, and through to the first corner. It is a cracking start for Blake Anglis. He charges through and takes the lead early doors as the field runs their way through the first corner, up through Cafe Corner now, and then through to the left-hand flick as they come down the stretch towards Stratford Hairpin. The battle is going to be raging on from here on in as they go through to the hairpin for the first time. Looks as though everybody's just about got through in reasonable speed and condition. But now the competitors are going to be pushing their way further down the straight into the Bruno chicane and onto the Hanger straight once again now as the competitors battle their way down through Hanger corner. Up towards Wilkins, still Blake Anglis in the lead of the race at the moment as they come back off the turn and back onto the home stretch once again. Anglis trying to get away from Max Mir in second position, who is still holding station in that P2 spot. But third position, that is one of the crop promotion karts. That is the 95 of Drew Davidson as Charlie Cole makes a move on Aaron Reshepi with Marcus Littlewood hanging in behind them. That's for 4th, 5th and 6th. Jamie Mead in there trying to make his move as they come out of the hairpin. No major dramas, but Max Mir has come onto the back of Blake Anglis as they go through the Bruno chicane and down the Hanger straight. This is going to be a really exciting battle. Up towards Hanger corner, through the right flick, keeping it nice and tidy on the exit because that sets you up for the braking zone for Wilkins. And as they go through the hairpin, they will come back onto the straight once again to complete the second lap. It's a long repechage in these races, don't forget. So they're going to have quite a battle on their hands as they come through. Blake Anglis in the lead. 67 in second place, that is Max Mir. And there's some great battles all the way through the field. Struggling away, that is the 75 of Aaron Reshepi for the KR Sport team. That's the same number as his Senior X30 colleague Clayton Ravenscroft, of course. But so far, it's not been a great day at the office for Aaron Reshepi. He needs to find some speed in this one to stand any chance of cutting through. Speaking of cutting through, Marcus Littlewood has got his way up into 6th position, and things are looking very good indeed for him as he charges through on the far side. And Marcus Littlewood is looking really strong and ultra competitive at this point as things really start to progress in his favour. The field's still going strong into the first corner. It's now a three-way tussle as Max Mir has hit the front, and up the inside comes Drew Davidson to Blake Anglis. So he's in his second place now, and maybe Anglis could lose the... Oh, problems for Duffel. Duffel's got a problem there at Cafe Corner. He's going to fall right down to the back of the field. Looks to me as though Oliver Duffel may be out of this race. He's certainly cruising. That is a real shame for the Mick Barrett Racing driver. He doesn't deserve this bad luck again, same as he had a little while ago. In fact, number 12 has got a warning flag. That is Marcus Littlewood. Well, it looks to me as though Oliver Duffel is just going to bring the kart into the pits to retire. He's cruising through the Bruno chicane, so I have a feeling if he can get home, then he will do so and bring the kart into the pits and DNF, but what a shame. So here come the leaders. Max Mir in front of Blake Anglis, Drew Davidson, then it's Charlie Cole. And then Jamie Mead and Marcus Littlewood. That's your top 6, and they are absolutely together. Don't give up Dan Butterworth, 7th position at the moment, and there's still a chance for him to charge forward. So Dan Butterworth still giving it everything he's got as he tries to close up on the top 6. They're pushing their way through in the hope that he can move his way further forward. As they go through the Bruno chicane, Anglis is back in front of Mir, so he's got himself back into the lead of the race as they go down the back straight. But Oliver Duffel is bringing the kart in to retire. What a shame for the Mick Barrett Racing driver. Totally not his fault by the look of things. Looks as though mechanical failure has cost him dear, and he's out of luck. So Blake Anglis leads the way. Max Mir in second, Charlie Cole third. Fourth now is the 97 of Jamie Mead. Then Drew Davidson and Marcus Littlewood. Then it's Dan Butterworth in front of Aaron Reshepi. Harvey Ryby is ninth from Jacob McComb. Then it's Mikai Singh. Alex Moody appears to have dropped down the order as well, so problems there on that lap for Alex Moody. Not sure what it is that cost him some time, but he's now in there in 10th position battling with Jacob McComb and Mikai Singh. Well, McComb has got past Alex Moody on that last lap, in fact. So 12 of them remain of the 13 that started. The one retiree is Oliver Duffel. And as they come through onto the main straight once again, it is Blake Anglis in the lead of the race, but up to second now has come Charlie Cole. So Charlie Cole pushing hard on the barrel arch chassis. He might get an opportunity down the inside. He did have a think about it on Blake Anglis. Hasn't been able to make the move stick though. They come off of Cafe Corner and up the stretch towards Stratford Hairpin. So it's Anglis, Cole, Mir, Mead, Davidson, Littlewood, Reshepi, Butterworth, Ryby, McComb and Moody. And then Mikai Singh in 12th position trying to get back on terms. And up to the lead, Charlie Cole has made the move at Stratford Hairpin and he now leads the race. So Charlie Cole in front. A great bit of driving from the youngster as he has got himself now into the lead of the race, and at pretty much exactly the right time too, because he really needed to hold fast at the front end of the field. It's not easy to get these sort of things done in good time, but he has made it work in his favour. So this is a good run from Charlie Cole in front of Blake Anglis. Then it's Mir, Mead, Davidson, Butterworth, down to 8th position now. It's Littlewood in 6th. Reshepi's up to 7th in front of Butterworth. Big problems for Mikai Singh. He's just not able to keep up with the pace now, having lost the back of the train in a couple of incidents, I think, in the first couple of laps of the race. He's now really struggling to keep up with the chase. As up the inside, that's a crucial move as Littlewood tried to get on the inside there of Jamie Mead, and it hasn't worked out. Drew Davidson looks as though he's up into 4th position now. So some good battles all the way through. Out of the hairpin. Back on the power and across the line. It's going to be these two still dueling away for the victory. Charlie Cole in front of Blake Anglis through Park Bend up towards Cafe, and it's still Charlie Cole hanging on to the advantage. Littlewood has now got through into 5th position past Jamie Mead. So Jamie Mead is down into 6th position. And that means that Cole is your leader from Anglis, Meir, Davidson, Littlewood, Mead, Reshepi, Butterworth, Ryby, Moody, McComb and Singh. So Alex Moody's got back through on Jacob McComb. Anglis still trying to get one over on Charlie Cole, who leads the race through Bruner Chicane. Max Meir still there to 3rd position as they go down the hangar straight once again, up towards hangar corner and into the tight right hairpin at Wilkins. Got to blend the kart in, carry as much speed as you can. It's a very tricky part of the course. And now they're going to get back on terms again, up on the power and through to the first chicane. They go through the left at Park, through the right sweeping hairpin at Cafe, and back on the power again. No change in the top 5. Jacob McComb still having a terrific scrap with Alex Moody. And there's no change between them in terms of positions. 5 minutes on the clock plus the additional lap as they go down the Stratford Straight, down runway. And Charlie Cole really under some intense pressure now from Blake Anglis as they come off the Bruner Chicane. Max Meir still right with them in 3rd position, but they are trying to stretch out the gap to the drivers behind. At this moment, there's no need to go for a move. Blake Anglis starting to get a little bit of a pressure cooker on the back of Charlie Cole, though. He really wants to intensify this battle. And as they come off the turn, down the short stretch, it's going to be Charlie Cole who holds it from Blake Anglis and Max Meir. 4th position, Drew Davidson, the Scotsman, still with Littlewood breathing down his neck. But now the Swiss ace, Aaron Reshepi, has moved up to 7th and onto the back of Jamie Mead. So his position in 6th place is tenuous at the moment. Down runway. And up towards the S's once again, turning into the right on the brakes, turn into the left at Bruno, and back on the straight again at Hanger. And there's now 7 of them fighting for 6 places. It's sure to get interesting as they go into the final few minutes of the race. They're going to go down towards the hairpin at Wilkins, brake, turn in, get back on the power, up through the throttle once again, and across the start-finish line one more time. Completing their 11th lap of racing into lap 12. Charlie Cole in front of Max Meir, Blake Anglis and Littlewood. Littlewood up to 4th now in front of Davidson and Reshepi. Reshepi's got the bubble spot. Reshepi into P6, and that means that he is the last man in. If it stays like this, that would be heartbreaking for Jamie Mead, but Reshepi has got through. So the Swiss driver is now going to make a bid for 5th position. Dives up the inside and gets the move. Nicely done from Reshepi as he gets past the Scotsman, Drew Davidson. Now into P5. And Reshepi doesn't look like he's done yet either. Looks like Charlie Cole's got Max Meir behind him now for the lead of the race. Blake Anglis appears to have fallen back into 3rd position. Now here comes Max Meir trying to get on the inside and gets the lead from Charlie Cole. Nice bit of driving from Max Meir. He leads from Charlie Cole. And 3rd is now Littlewood. Littlewood is up to 3rd in front of Blake Anglis. So it is now Max Meir who leads from Cole, Littlewood, Anglis, Reshepi and Davidson in the top 6. You never know what's going to happen next, but for the race lead, it is very tight. Charlie Cole back in the lead of the race, and diving up to 4th goes Reshepi, and he nudges the back of Littlewood in doing so. Nearly loses the race altogether. Reshepi very close. Blake Anglis able to assist him and edge him further forward, but they've now fallen off the back of the leading 3. And that has bolted 8th and 9th to the back of the bumpers as well now. So there's a terrific, monumental 6-way scrap for the final 3 places as Mead tries to get on the inside of Davidson. Ryby's going to try and make the move. They're going to go 3 wide off the turn as Ryby tries to position himself. He's not going to get through. Ryby having made the move on Dan Butterworth to move up into 8th position. Back down the short runway stretch, and that's that's Littlewood now right on the back of these two leading the race, Meir and Cole. So Littlewood has caught up. Reshepi and Anglis are still trying to catch up, and they are making big ground. We're into the last 2 minutes of the repechage, so 2 minutes for 6 drivers of the 9 who are leading the charge to get into the race. 3 of them are going to be plumb out of luck here. And I have a feeling it's going to get quite hectic. Up the inside goes Charlie Cole, takes the lead from Max Meir. Nicely done in the park. And as they go through the hairpin, it is Charlie Cole out in front of Max Meir. Littlewood in third position. Fourth is Ricchepi. Fifth is Anglis. And in that sixth place spot at the moment, it is Drew Davidson. He's got back past Jamie Mead at the first corner. So Drew Davidson into P6. Down the short stretch up towards Bruno is Max Meir going to go for the lead. He's not quite able to get close enough to Charlie Cole up the inside. Littlewood's got plenty of pressure on the back of him now as they edge down the straight. They're going to go together to work onto the back of Charlie Cole in towards Wilkins. No opportunity for the overtake there. They're going to have to come back on the power and up the main straight once again. They'll cross the line with about 60 seconds of the race still to go. Looks like there's 3 laps left of the repechage. Cole is your leader. Meir, Littlewood, Ricchepi, Anglis, then Davidson, Mead, Butterworth, Ryby, Moody, McComb, and in 12th is still Mackay Singh. But on the back straight, up towards the Bruno chicane, things are going to get hectic. Littlewood is leading. Marcus Littlewood has gone into the lead from third position, so he's outfoxed both Meir and Cole. Meir is into second past Cole. Littlewood is your race leader, but Meir's got a great exit off the Bruno chicane. He's surely going to get up the inside of Littlewood, takes the place. So too does Charlie Cole into second position. Now he's going to try and make the dive on the inside of Max Meir out of Wilkins. They're nearly side by side off the turn, but eventually Meir sorts it out and he gets through. So Meir, your leader. Cole second, side by side. Anglis versus Ricchepi. Fourth position. Anglis holds back in a fourth position in front of Ricchepi. And now Davidson's coming for the break. Mead, Butterworth, Ryby, Moody and McComb with Mackay Singh in P12. But the lead of this race is about to be played out. Time runs down to 0. And we have got one more lap after this one. So Meir leads Cole and Littlewood. Littlewood still trying to get himself into first position. Cole is right on the back of your leader, Max Meir. They're going to go side by side to hang a corner. And surely Cole's going to get there. They rub wheels and Littlewood's got them both. Littlewood storms past both of them into the lead of the race. Brilliant driving from Littlewood. Now he holds the front of the field. Cole and Meir have ended up causing themselves an issue. And Littlewood is clean through to first position. Now, surely Marcus Littlewood's not going to be caught now. They've got 4 car lengths back to Charlie Cole in second. And Cole and Meir are too busy worrying about each other. And they've got aggro from behind in the shape of Anglis, Ricchepi, Davidson, Ryby, Mead, Butterworth. Ryby nearly in the mix now, trying to get himself into the top 6. He's right in the hunt, and he's going to make the move up the inside. That's Davidson on Ricchepi. Ryby trying to come round the outside of the Swiss. Now ducks back in for the inside, but it's going to be a victory with a brilliant manoeuvre on the previous lap from Marcus Littlewood. He comes out of Wilkins and takes the checkered flag. And Marcus Littlewood has been an amazing tiger in this race. Stormed his way to victory with a brilliant move at hanger. He let Cole and Meir scrap away and just dived up the inside. What a run from Marcus Littlewood. Terrific race. Absolutely superb victory. The spirit of Senna lives on in the colours of Marcus Littlewood's machine. He wins the repechage in front of Charlie Cole and Max Meir. From Blake Anglis in 4th, Drew Davidson is 5th, and incredibly, on the last lap, Harvey Ryby storms his way to 6th position across the line. Brilliant comeback drive again from Harvey Ryby. Then it is Aaron Ricchepi in 7th in front of Jamie Mead. Dan Butterworth in 9th position in front of Alex Moody, Jacob McComb and Mackay Singh. And unfortunately, the one retirement from the race, Oliver Duffel. But what a terrific race. Absolutely spectacular battling. And hopefully, without too many front fairings to worry about, there is going to be some really exciting battles to come from the drivers that have gone through into the top 6. But it looks like a handful of them may already be being investigated for front fairings. So the drivers are obviously already backs to the wall in the repechages, and hopefully they're A-OK. So a few of the drivers will obviously be wanting to make sure they go through. But the battle has been very intense to start things off. If you've only just joined us, you are right in the heart of the action for the championship points here at Shenington Kart Racing Club for the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships. It's round 4 of the 2019 season. Round 3 was yesterday. And we'll have the podium ceremony for both championships a little later after a rain shower ruined our chances of having a podium ceremony yesterday. So we'll have both podiums back to back today. And it's going to be absolutely terrific, these finals. And the finals are just one race away, in fact, because, of course, we have the senior repechage about to start. And then when that race is run, we are into the finals for the weekend. Round 4 of the British Kart Championships in each of our 4 categories. So, once again, a repechage race with 12 minutes plus the additional lap to figure out which of these drivers is going to go through to the final. And here is your grid. Alex Pendlebury for pole position from Nelson King in second. Tom Westworth for Andy Potter Racing is third in front of Harry Barlow for the M Sport team. Then it's Elliot Harvey alongside Henry Ayers. Tom Wood is beside Josh Graham from Cameron Coombs and Callum Driscoll. Lee Chamberlain, Abigail Ross and Eduardo Cosseteng. So the drivers are into their positions now. They're getting themselves dialed in for the last few positions on the circuit. They obviously want to make sure they're in their tram lines ready for racing. But only the first 6 drivers across the finish line in the Senior X30 repechage will go through to the final. So they come off of Wilkins, back on the power, and this is going to be a very entertaining race. 12 minutes plus the additional lap as the drivers are now in position, ready for the start. Is this going to be a blast away from the line? It looks like it's a perfect getaway. And indeed, they charge forward. So, hang on a minute. Looks as though we're going to have a false start. My apologies. So, yep, false start. I thought for a minute we were a little bit eager, and indeed we are. So, they have called a false start. I think it was a few drivers in the middle of the field that were not quite in position. So they decide to allow them to go around one more time around this circuit. 1,018 metres around the Shenington Kart Racing Circuit. It's one of the shortest in the British Kart Championship calendar. And I like to refer to this place as a mini Monza. It is the Monza of British karting. Flat out down plenty of straights, some very fast sweeping corners. But there's obviously a lot of debate as to who is going to come through for the victory. And as we've already seen from a few of the races earlier on, you never quite know who's going to come through for the victory. They come off the final turn. They're in their tram lines. Is this going to be a neat start? Wait for it. That's better. Away we go. And it's a cracking start into the inside line from Alex Pendlebury. He holds the initial line and keeps his position. Oh, and up the circuit into the barriers goes the 88 of Cameron Coombs. 89, sorry. Cameron Coombs plows into the barriers on the entry to the pit lane. He just tagged another driver and unfortunately spins the cart around. Well, that is devastating. But out in front, it is Alex Pendlebury who hangs on to the lead of the race on the Cosmic chassis. And then in second, it's Nelson King in front of Tom Westworth. So no major changes at the front end of the field, but Cameron Coombs spat out to the scenery, hits the barriers at Cafe and manages to keep going. So he hit the entry to the pit lane, so he hit the plastic barriers on the way into the pit entry rather than the tyre barriers on the way through Cafe. So he's been able to get away with that one without too much damage. As through goes the 39 of Pendlebury. In the mix there is Harry Barlow, having moved his way up into third position. Great opening lap from Harry Barlow. So Harry Barlow is pushing his way forward and has got himself now into, what is that, third position for the M Sport driver. Then it's Henry Ayers of the KR Sports Squad. And Henry Ayers has got himself right back into the hunt again. He seems to have no end of bad luck. Now that's Westworth. Westworth has come through behind everybody, right at the back end of the queue. And so too has one of the Dan Holland Racing drivers. Now that has got to be the 37 of Elliot Harvey. And he is out. Elliot Harvey drives into the pits and is out. That is devastating. Well, having already had a bad day at the office, Elliot Harvey, his woes are now compounded as he brings the cart in to retire. And he's one of the big names from Senior X30. What a shame. His weekend is now over. And out in front, Alex Pendlebury leads the race. Second is Nelson King in front of Harry Barlow. But here comes Henry Ayers. Henry Ayers has got a great run on the back straight. Up to third position potentially on Harry Barlow. He has a little bit of a think about it, but then backs off the throttle. He just gets himself back into position. No need to dab the brake. Just let the cart roll back off onto the back bumper. And this is exactly where he's looking to run it. So Pendlebury leads, King second, third is Barlow, fourth is Ayers. Great move. Oh, and a big lunge from Cosseteng. Eduardo Cosseteng charges up the inside, catches Abigail Ross completely off guard. So Cosseteng dives from the middle of nowhere, gets the place, but Abigail Ross basically had to hit the panic button there on the brakes and slid out sideways to avoid the contact. So Cosseteng, a very unconventional overtaking move for 7th position, but no wonder he's desperate. The man in front of him is Callum Driscoll with a chance to get through on the table. So they battle away once again. But your leader is Alex Pendlebury. He still has this advantage in the lead of the race ahead of Nelson King. King has had a terrible day at the office compared to yesterday, and now he needs to fight his way back into contention. Harry Barlow third, Henry Ayres in fourth. And so far so good for the KR Sport driver. Henry Ayres definitely looking hungry here in fourth position as he gets onto the back of Harry Barlow. They come off the hairpin. And it's still these four in these positions. No major difficulty for the race leader to continue to run the pace. Pendlebury going strong. Second place is still Nelson King. Then it is Harry Barlow from Henry Ayres. The top four are already starting to check out away from the rest of the field. They come through Wilkins. Fifth and sixth positions currently held by Tom Wood and Callum Driscoll, with the threat of invasion from Eduardo Cosseteng. Here come the top four. So the man in the box seat here, ultimately, is the man in fourth position. Henry Ayres has the most to gain being sat here in fourth position because he's staying with the top three. He's not letting them get away at all. Henry Ayres definitely is the key in this battle because he's sat there in fourth position watching them all play out. He can suss out where the other three drivers in front of them are weak. So he can see where they're going to brake too late. He can see when the tyre degradation goes down. He just needs to chill out and stay in position without risking too much. He just needs to stay focused, keep himself in position, not let himself get too flustered. This is a good run for Henry Ayres in fourth position, and the win could be on the cards in this repechage. He just needs to stay hungry out there. So Pendlebury in front of Nelson King. Nelson King's really trying to get himself a victory, even if he can't do it in the final. In the repechage will save his reputation to a certain extent as he continues to push forward. Cameron Coombs still running around with a bent side pod as he goes through, and obviously still Tom Westworth is trying to get himself up the order for Andy Potter Racing on the Ralph Schumacher chassis. So they continue to charge forward onto the far side of the circuit and down into the braking zone for Wilkins, and it's still Pendlebury leading from King. Two drivers who really didn't want to be in the repechage today. Plenty of opportunities to come back if they get a reasonable run in this repechage, but they've still got to battle. Harry Barlow in third. He dearly would love to win a race in the British Car Championship, even if it's the repechage. That would do him some confidence, and the power of good would definitely go his way. They come off the hairpin and back onto the straight once again. No changes in the top four. Still Nelson King following Pendlebury. He doesn't want to make the overtaking move until he has to. Much hotter today than yesterday, and that presents its own problems. 14 degrees Celsius air temperature. That's a good 4 degrees more than it was yesterday. What does that mean in real terms? Well, double the ambient temperature, and that's about what the track temperature is going to be. And that will be absolutely melting, absolutely destroying the tyres. If they go to a further part of the race without looking after them, they are really going to struggle for grip. Fifth position, the 62 of Tom Wood, hanging on in front of in the ST Racing team, in front of Eduardo Cosseteng, who's got past Driscoll, past Abigail Ross, and now is into sixth position. Hustling your man in fifth position, the number 62 of Tom Wood. Into Bruno Chicane, and it's 2x2 hurrah at the moment. First and second, Pendlebury and King. Third and fourth, Barlow and Ayres. Fifth and sixth, Wood and Cosseteng. Seventh and eighth, Driscoll and Ross. They have separated from the rest of the field. They come through onto the main straight once again to complete the ninth lap, and into lap 10 goes Alex Pendlebury in front of Nelson King. Harry Barlow still there in third in front of Henry Ayres. So far so good for these four. Looks as though they're going to get through without issue. Meanwhile, for seventh position, Callum Driscoll trying desperately to hang on in front of the Scots racer Abigail Ross. So the Scotswoman Abigail Ross in eighth position, still pushing very hard to try and get through, but is not quite able to make the gap yet. Oh no, she has done. My apologies. Abigail Ross at the hairpin has got through on Callum Driscoll. So now she's into seventh position. Good run from Abigail Ross as she moves up into P7. So a really talented driver in this field. All sorts of bad luck over the course of the weekend, but there might still be a chance for her to make the finals. She's there in seventh. She needs to make up one more place. So Pendlebury and King, first and second. Barlow and Ayres, third and fourth. There's a bit of a gap between those two pairs. Then Abigail Ross is trying to close up on Cosseteng and Driscoll. No, sorry, it's Wood in sixth position now, not Driscoll. So Cosseteng has moved up into fifth position past Thomas Wood. And as they come down into the Bruno chicane, through the left and through the right onto the back straight again, no change for Pendlebury or Nelson King in first and second places. Harry Barlow is being caught now by Henry Ayres, who's got a lot of straight line speed down the back straight by the look of it. Harry Barlow is almost a sitting target in that section. They do say in qualifying you need a toe around this Shenington circuit. Looks like you need one in the repechage as well, because Henry Ayres is all over the back of Harry Barlow now down the back straight. Cosseteng, Wood, Ross and Driscoll battling for the last 2 places in the race for the final. 9th position is Josh Graham in front of Lee Chamberlain, then Cameron Coombs and Tom Westworth, with Elliot Harvey already out of the race after pulling out after only 2 laps. So a very exciting run for your race leaders, but it's not a particularly pleasant one for the likes of Cameron Coombs or Tom Westworth. They are running around at the back, hoping that something's going to happen that will give them a chance to make up the ground lost, but it looks as though it's going to go against them. With a checkered flag, can't come soon enough for Alex Pendlebury. He's got 3 minutes and 18 plus the additional lap to hang on. Henry Ayres into third. Henry Ayres has got through for P3 on Barlow. So Henry Ayres now into third position. That is really good news for him. So far so good for Henry as he puts himself into third position. Good bit of driving there on the far side of the circuit, no doubt, into that Wilkins hairpin. He has made the move stick, and now he is there on the back straight, charging after the 2 leaders, but that gap is very big. I'm not sure that's going to work out in the favour, you know, because they are just too big a gap between the 2 of them. So I think Henry Ayres may just have to settle for third position, but that is more than enough to get him into the final. He just needs to stay in position, doesn't want to lose too much ground to Barlow. Henry Ayres' teammate Eduardo Cosseteng is trying to catch him. Meanwhile, Abigail Ross is working hard to close up on Thomas Wood. Now, 2.5 minutes to go in the race, plus the additional lap. This is the critical point of the race. This is about who's looked after their tyres best. Some of them will have put fresh tyres on in the hope that they can get through. Others will have saved a set of spare tyres in the hope that when they get through, they'll have a clean set of slicks to work with. But this is going to be a really tricky situation for them all, because now we're in the point when the tyres will just plummet in terms of grip. So now it's going to be about who has controlled the pace the best, who has looked after their tyres wisely, and who is going to maintain the gap. So Pendlebury and King, no danger at the moment for those 2. Ayres, Barlow, Cosseteng, and now the battle stepping up for 6th place between Thomas Wood and Abigail Ross. Ross is really trying to go for that 6th place spot. She senses that she's got a chance to do it, and she's definitely got more straight line speed than Thomas Wood at the moment. Down into the Bruno chicane. You've got to time this right. You've still got time to tick down. 1.5 minutes. If Abigail Ross can break her way into the top 6, she's only got 90 seconds plus the additional lap to do so. It's going to be make or break to get her into this final, but she is pushing hard to get there. Pendlebury and King still 1 and 2 as they go through Park Bend and into the braking zone for Cafe. They continue to storm through. Oh, the tyres are gone for Thomas Wood, and I think he realises something's wrong. Something's wrong for Thomas Wood. From 6th position, he is out. He comes into the pits, and straight away, Thomas Wood, a chance of 6th position is gone, and that hands it to Abigail Ross, who passed him before he pulled off. So Abigail Ross was through to 6th position regardless, but I think that was all developing. But Abigail Ross doesn't mind. That's going to book her a place in the final if she stays where she is. So great news for the Mick Barrett racing driver from Scotland. Abigail Ross looking likely to seal 6th position. So the time continues to tick down. 30 seconds as they come across the line. That's 2 laps to go. No problem at all for the leaders. Pendlebury and King. Then Henry Ayres in 3rd. Barlow 4th. Cosseteng 5th. And closing up on them is Abigail Ross in 6th. Then in 7th place is Callum Driscoll. He's a little way behind though, but he needs to keep the faith. You never know. There might be a chance still to break through to the final, especially if one of the drivers in front has a mechanical issue in the next 90 seconds or has a front fairing penalty we don't know about coming. But so far, Nelson King is not prepared to make the move on Alex Pendlebury. He's sat right behind him. The 2 of them know they're going to get through to the final. At this stage, they're going to be on the 15th row of the grid, whatever happens, whether they finish 1st or 2nd or not. What difference will it make from Nelson King's point of view, I suppose? Last lap begins, and Nelson King running well at the head of this field is Alex Pendlebury. So Pendlebury leads the way, King 2nd. Then it is Henry Ayres who's up to 3rd, and he's made the most progress in the top 5, other than Eduardo Cosseteng, who's come up from the back of the grid to come up to P5. So a really good run for the KR Sport drivers. Henry Ayres and Eduardo Cosseteng, they've come through to 3rd and 5th when they were, both of them, outside the top 5 on the starting grid. But it's Alex Pendlebury who's going to come through in front of Nelson King. It's a very tame race in the end for the leaders, but they will come through 1 and 2. The checkered flag is in the air, and it's Alex Pendlebury. He crosses the line in front of Nelson King. Henry Ayres is a brilliant 3rd position. Good comeback from him. 4th place goes the way of Harry Barlow in front of Eduardo Cosseteng of the Philippines. And in 6th place, Abigail Ross. A really spirited drive from those 6. They've done an absolutely terrific job to fight through. A fairly clean race at the front of the Senior X30 reposages then, and it's great to see the battles unfolding through the day. But barring any penalties, it's going to be Pendlebury, King, Ayres, Barlow, Cosseteng and Ross that get through to the final here at Shenington. And rightly so. 6 great drivers that have fought their way into position, and that was a very clean race to get there. So not bad at all from the drivers. For those who didn't make it, unfortunately, they will now have to wait until the 3rd round of the championship next month. So it's time for the finals, and the first race of the day in the championship finals is going to be round 4 for the Mini X30 category. They've been so ridiculously close and competitive all day long, and now it is time for them to battle for victory. It's going to be Theo Makouris who starts from pole position after a very adventurous day at the office for the Mini X30 drivers. 2 races and 2 wins for Theo Makouris. Jessica Edgar has had a 2nd and a 4th. 2 third places for Alfie Rigby. Keeps him in 3rd position on the starting grid. So the gate raises, and it's time to go racing in Mini X30 for the final. So the drivers are in position. Theo Makouris and Jessica Edgar on the front row of the starting grid. Then it is Alfie Rigby and Bart Harrison with Luke Watts and Oliver Greenall on the 3rd row. From Alfie Baxter Davies and Olivier Algieri, Edward Pearson and Aidan Lyne. From Dan Bolton and Evan Brown, Gabriel Stilp, JJ Russell, Antonio Sofronio and Ashton Parsons. That is the grid. 15 minutes of racing, and it's going to be one heck of a show for the drivers as they come off Wilkins hairpin. Makouris on pole position. Jess Edgar 2nd from Alfie Rigby, Bart Harrison, Luke Watts, Oliver Greenall, Alfie Baxter Davies and Olivia Algieri. Engine revs rise. Is it going to be a clean start straight away? Should be. Looks pretty good as Makouris gets into the first corner first. They tighten through towards Cafe. Rigby's got a flyer. He's in a 2nd position. Jess Edgar trying to hold off Watts and the 77 further back. A few of them squabbling as they bang wheels. But Bart Harrison and Luke Watts having a great little tussle for 4th position as they go down to the hairpin. And a really terrific squabble at the start of Mini X30, but it's Theo Makouris who heads the race from Alfie Rigby and Jessica Edgar. Then it's Watts and Harrison as they duel away for position. It looks as though Harrison has lost ground to Oliver Greenall. Oh, and there's a spin further back. 2 of them have gone together. That is one of the, I think that's Aidan Lyne who has gone there together with one of the crop promotion drivers. I think it's Gabriel Stilp. We'll double check as they come through. But up at the front, it is Rigby who leads now in front of Makouris. So Rigby's got through. Makouris is 2nd, then Jessica Edgar, then it's Oliver Greenall. He's up to 4th place now in front of Watts, Harrison. 7th place is Ed Pearson, then it's Algieri, Bolton, Stilp, Brown, Russell, Baxter Davies and Parsons. So it's Antonio Sofronio who went with Aidan Lyne. The 2 of them have rejoined, but they've lost a lot of ground as Jess Edgar's now moved into 2nd place on Theo Makouris. Onto the back of your race leader, Alfie Rigby. It's the Mini X30 final, so things are going to get pretty hairy as they go down through Hanger Corner, up towards Wilkins. Is there going to be a move made? Up the inside from Jessica Edgar, trying again to get through on Theo Makouris. A great little battle about to shake up as across the line, and Rigby still leads. Makouris up to 2nd now on the 17 of Jess Edgar. Greenall's got Harrison behind. Then it is Watts, and then Algieri, the 41 of Pearson, and Dan Bolton, all in a massive freight train as they go down to the Stratford hairpin. Into the inside line, and that's Edgar trying to get on the inside of Rigby, not managing to. Rigby now on the run for Theo Makouris as they go down to the Bruno chicane. Any moves in the pack? Not yet, as all of them together still stay in position. The 9 of them all in a line as they go down the hanger straight. Up the inside, that's Rigby past Makouris. Edgar's going to get the space as well. Is there enough room for Greenall to get through on the inside through Wilkins? Whatever at the front, it is Rigby who takes the lead. 2nd position now Edgar, and down to 4th goes, well, down to 5th actually goes Theo Makouris, because Greenall got through and so did Bart Harrison. Makouris down to 5th position. Then it's Olivia Algieri in front of the 41 of Ed Pearson. So a really exciting scrap. Dan Bolton and Luke Watts are still there. Watts again has had a bit of bad luck and drops now to 9th position. That is Edgar through. Rigby's down to 4th. The trio of Fusion Motorsport drivers have all got through past Rigby. Rigby sliding around in the Brunner chicane trying to get back up the order. But it's Edgar who leads. Greenall 2nd, Harrison 3rd. And now Oliver Greenall is going to try and make the move on Jessica Edgar into Wilkins. Or are they going to try and stretch away? They come off the hairpin. Back on the power and over the line once again. Great battle at the front end of this field, but it's Jessica Edgar and Oliver Greenall battling away for the victory, and it's Edgar in front. Rigby's got back through on Harrison, so too is Theo Makuris. They are now 3rd and 4th. Out of my commentary window at Cafe Corner, looking down to the hairpin, we can still see a great battle between the two teammates of Fusion. Edgar staying in front of Oliver Greenall for the moment. Then it is Rigby, Makuris, Harrison, Algieri, Pearson, Watts, Bolton and Stilp. Now, is there going to be a challenge from Makuris to get into 3rd position past Rigby? He looks very clean down the Bruno chicane and onto the hanger straight once again. Looks as if he's got him dialed in. He's not quite going to go for the move yet. They've dropped a little way back from the two leaders, so it looks like they're going to join forces and work together until they catch them. Then it is every man for themselves again. But out in front, it is the lady racer Jessica Edgar, having had a great start to her weekend so far. She is now leading from Oliver Greenall. Jessica Edgar was the fastest in time qualifying, so she can be very rapid around this Shenington circuit. She may not say much in front of the cameras, but she does all her talking on the racetrack. And she's battling away with Greenall in 2nd position. 3rd and 4th, though. Rigby and Makuris are closing in. They've closed in as they go down the back straight once again. On the power, Oliver Greenall needing to sort things out behind Jessica Edgar up towards Wilkins. Is there going to be a move up the inside? Not yet. Still early doors. It's a long race. 10.5 minutes to go, plus the additional lap. And at the baking sunshine of Shenington, that's really going to drain the tyres. They all know what's at stake. They know it's going to be a long race. They know it's going to be hard. They come off the hairpin, off the flick. And are we going to see a run into the hairpin, a change of lead? Is that Greenall throw on the inside of Jessica Edgar? Yes, it is. And so Greenall gets through to the lead. Rigby's going to get through to 2nd. Makuris is going to get through to 3rd. Nothing that Jessica Edgar can do about that one except just let it happen and slot back into position in 4th. Now Bart Harrison's going to have a try, but he's too far back. So up to the lead has gone Greenall. Rigby 2nd, Makuris 3rd, Edgar 4th, and now Edgar's going to have another try on the back of Makuris, who goes towards Rigby. Greenall is there at the front. It looks as though they're going to get away with it for the moment as they come off the turn and down the main straight. Greenall, your leader. Rigby, Makuris, Edgar, Harrison. Great top 5. Up to 6th has come Dan Bolton. Bags full of confidence after winning Final 2 at PFI a few weeks ago. And now he is there on the barrel arch for Jade Racing in 6th position, having a cracking race. Up to the hairpin, and on the inside, that's a change of lead. Rigby's through, Makuris is through, 1 and 2. So Greenall is going to be shunted down to 5th position in the momentum. So Edgar through to 3rd, and 4th is Harrison. 5th is now Oliver Greenall. That's how quickly it can change. One move made for the lead, and the leader gets basically shunted down the order and has to then slot themselves back in and get back on the horse and push again. They come off the hairpin, back down the straight. Rigby leading. Makuris is going to try and get up on the inside line. Rigby holding that door firmly shut through Park Bend and on through Cafe. Bolton, Algieri and Watts have closed right up again. Ed Pearson struggling in 9th position to hang on to the back of the train, but still relatively there. As Rigby again holds the inside line for Makuris. Meanwhile, side by side, that's Watts getting through on Algieri. That's Watts getting through on Bolton, because Algieri's already got past Dan Bolton. So Algieri through into 6th, Watts through into 7th, Dan Bolton down to 8th position, with now in 9th, Ed Pearson trying to close down the gap. Makuris all over the back of Alfie Rigby in the braking zone for Wilkins. Not going to get the move done just yet. They get back onto the main straight. Is this going to be the opportunity that Rigby has been looking for to keep that door shut on Makuris? He holds it through Park Bend. No major lunge into Cafe. Still a very early doors race this. 8 minutes of this still to come before they even get the last lap board. They are pushing so hard out there, and the tyres will be wearing so much on this Shenington circuit. This is a really tough circuit to get right in terms of setup, in terms of pace. Pole position can be won here by hundredths of a second, as we've proven across the 4 classes here in time qualifying over the course of the last 2 days. Makuris still working with Rigby to try and stretch out a gap to the 2 drivers behind. Oliver Greenall, they're in third. Fourth, Bart Harrison. Fifth, Jessica Edgar. And Jessica Edgar now struggling to deal with the man in sixth position. That's Olivia Algieri. The top four have broken clear, though. Greenall and Harrison have worked together to get onto the back of Rigby and McCurris. So Alfie Rigby leads the race. Here goes Thea McCurris for a look up the inside of Rigby. And he's there. Oh, they've nudged each other. Rigby goes a little bit wide. McCurris through to the lead, but Greenall is already threatening to come by. And that's put Alfie Rigby down to fourth position. Fortunately for him, Edgar and Algieri are still battling away for fifth. So that's only put Rigby down to fourth, but he's got plenty of time to make up the ground again. Now Oliver Greenall has sussed it out. He's decided to go with Theo McCurris. They're trying to stretch out the lead. So McCurris is your leader. Greenall in second. Bart Harrison in third is still very close, though, as McCurris holds the inside line. Defending at this early stage is it's tantamount to how tough it is to look after these tyres in these conditions. They will have put brand new sets on for this final if they possibly can, and it's still ridiculously tough to get the grip. As up the inside, Jessica Edgar makes the move on Alfie Rigby. That's for fourth position, so Rigby down to fifth. Vulnerable to attack from Olivia Algieri. Then Dan Bolton and Luke Watts. That's eighth position. Ninth is Ed Pearson, still trying to stay with them, but struggling for top-end grip at the moment. Struggling for top-end speed as well. They come off Wilkins, back on the power. Theo McCurris holds the lead, but he's going to get a massive amount of pressure from Oliver Greenall in this next lap. Greenall will want to put himself into a race-winning position. He doesn't need to take the lead to do that. He just needs to sit behind McCurris and get him to do all the hard work. So Greenall now making his advantage count up the inside. Will he make the move into the hairpin? No. Nicely handled from Theo McCurris. Copes with the pressure. Bart Harrison in third position must be thinking this is a golden opportunity now for the victory. I know what I can get from this. He runs in behind McCurris and Greenall, ready to pounce. Edgar in fourth position. She's got Alfie Rigby right behind her. So let's see if there's going to be a change of the lead as Greenall still hustles Theo McCurris down the main straight. No change at the moment across the line. Now diving towards the inside, but again Theo McCurris holds that door shut. Meanwhile, Watts gets the move on Olivia Algieri. So Algieri unfortunately slips now down to eighth position at the expense of Luke Watts. Down to the braking zone for the Stratford hairpin. And Theo McCurris hanging on in front of the second place driver. Oliver Greenall still giving him plenty of hassle, plenty of aggro. They come off the turn, back on the power, down the hanger straight. And this is going to get pretty spicy for Oliver Greenall in second position to go for Theo McCurris down to Wilkins. He still wants to keep pushing away. Alfie Rigby, by the way, has got past Jessica Edgar for fourth position. So a nice bit of racing between those two. And Alfie Rigby has now got back into P4. So McCurris in front of Greenall, then Bart Harrison, then it's Rigby, Edgar, Bolton, Watts, Algieri, Pearson. Then in 10th place, that is Alfie Baxter Davies in front of Gabriel Stilt, Evan Brown, Aidan Lyons, Sofronio, Russell and Ashton Parsons. So McCurris still leads the race, still holding the advantage, holding all of the cards to Oliver Greenall at the moment. Bart Harrison sat there in third position, needs to stay hungry. If anything happens with these two, he can snatch the victory. So Greenall still edging away with Theo McCurris. They need to keep this gap rising because they know that in the last couple of laps it's going to be absolutely monumental, the battle. 3 minutes and 50 or so seconds across the line, plus the additional lap. So time is getting thin, but this is where tyre life will be critical. And drivers will start to make some big mistakes. Rigby in fourth position, ahead of Edgar. Then Bolton, Watts, Algieri and Pearson struggling to keep up with them at the moment. Through the hairpin. And so far, so good for Theo McCurris. He's hanging on to it. Meanwhile, further back, Rigby trying to hang on. And that's Dan Bolton making his move. Dan Bolton trying to get side by side with Rigby. Rigby hangs on. Bolton trying to come around the outside of Bruno Chicane. Not going to get the move done. Now their big jostles for position are going to take place in that run, especially for these guys. Most of them fully aware of the fact that the leading three have well and truly gone. So in terms of the championship fight, Rigby would still be the championship leader if it ended like this. But Greenall would now be only 4 points behind him. So for Greenall, a win would make his life much easier to fight for the title. Theo McCurris with a win would be on 234. Watts would be on 233. Harrison on 230. So still ridiculously close in Mini X30. Up to Bruno Chicane. Theo Makuris still runs in front of Oliver Greenall and Bart Harrison. Rigby has now finally got back into 4th place on Jessica Edgar. Dan Bolton looking likely to challenge both of them as they go down the hanger straight, side by side. Rigby versus Edgar, not a lot of space. Edgar gets through, Bolton gets through. Rigby squeezed back down to 6th position. Not good for his championship aspirations as he loses a couple more points there. But Makuris still hangs on in front of Greenall. Then it's Harrison. Look at the gap back to 4th position. Their squabble has well and truly broken the leaders clear. So Edgar in 4th place in front of Bolton and Rigby. The leaders have yet to start their proper battle for victory. They've still got 2 minutes plus the additional lap to play out. But Greenall is not going for an overtake at all on Theo Makuris. He's being wise. He's being very deliberate here. Staying in 2nd place. Edging Theo Makuris away with him so that they can have the only challenge for the victory. It looks like it's going to be between these two. Bart Harrison, even in 3rd place, is now struggling to stay with them as he slowly starts to drift away. But Oliver Greenall's not going to go for that overtaking move until they hit the penultimate lap. You can sense he's just dialing down the laps. He's counting down the time. 1:30 plus the additional lap. Behind them, it's now Rigby in 4th from Bolton, Jess Edgar. Then it's Algieri ahead of Watts and Pearson. No moves from Greenall yet. He's still sat in there behind Theo Makuris, waiting for the lunge. Bruno Chicane, nice and tidy. Gets the kart nicely stopped through the S's. Back down to the hanger straight. Up towards hanger corner. He's not going to go for the move yet, but he is definitely dialing Theo Makuris in. He's trying to keep the crop promotion driver guessing. But Theo Makuris leads here in front of Oliver Greenall. And now they're going to have just about 3 laps to go by the look of it. And now he's going to make the move on the inside. Greenall dives in at Park Bend. Lovely job from Oliver Greenall. He takes the lead. Now, what can Theo Makuris do in response as the battle further back is raging and Alfie Rigby's dropped right the way down the order. So Rigby has dropped down to 9th position. This is heaven sent for Greenall. Disastrous for Rigby. Greenall now leads the championship if it stays like this. Even a 2nd place would make him the championship leader over Alfie Rigby by 1 point. But he wants to win, and he's got the lead of the race now. Theo Makuris still trying to get him. They come into Wilkins. Oliver Greenall needs to stay as focused as he can. Even a 2nd place finish with Rigby down in 9th would be enough to take the lead of the championship. But Greenall doesn't want that. He wants the victory. They've got 2 laps to go as he crosses the line. Greenall is in ultra defense mode. And here comes Bart Harrison. Harrison's caught up to them already. Dan Bolton's now 4th in front of Algieri, Edgar, Watts, Pearson and Rigby. Down to the inside of the hairpin, and that's Greenall and Makuris hanging on in front of Bart Harrison. Harrison's going to try and make the lunge down the runway straight. Up into Bruno. Into the chicane. Greenall hangs on from Makuris and Harrison. Harrison's getting impatient. A lap and a half to go. They're dialing it in down the back straight. Up towards hanger corner. Theo Makuris is going to try and make his move on the inside line, but round the outside of Makuris comes Harrison. Is he going to get the line off the turn? Not quite. 1 lap to go, and it's 3 of them for the victory. Greenall, Makuris, Harrison, here they go. The 2 leaders protecting the inside line. Harrison trying to switch in and then get the switch back out of Cafe. Not going to happen. Greenall holds on for Makuris and Harrison. Bolton looks good for 4th in front of the rest of the pack. Here they go, down to the braking zone, sweeping out wide. Makuris trying to go round the outside of Greenall, and Harrison's going to get them both. Harrison sweeps through to the lead. Bart Harrison has taken the lead on the last lap of the race. He puts himself right in prime position. Oliver Greenall's going to try one more time on his teammate as they come up towards Wilkins. But 2nd position will be enough for Greenall to take the lead of the championship. But Bart Harrison crosses the line and wins at Shenington. Brilliant from Bart Harrison. What an opportunistic victory. And that has kick-started his Mini X30 campaign in fantastic style in 2019. Bart Harrison has done the business. What a victory. 2nd place for Oliver Greenall, and he is now the new championship leader by 1 point. Theo Makuris is 2nd, and he is just 2 points off the championship lead now. Dan Bolton is 4th in front of Olivia Algieri and Jessica Edgar. Luke Watts is 7th in front of Ed Pearson. Alfie Rigby, a very disappointing 9th position from him. 10th place for Alfie Baxter Davies from Gabriel Stilp, Evan Brown, Aidan Lyne, Antonio Sofronio, JJ Russell and Ashton Parsons. Drama, thy name is Mini X30. Wow, that was something special to behold, wasn't it? An absolutely terrific race from Mini X30, and there's more where that came from because the IAME Cadet race is up next. But what a special victory for Bart Harrison. He's going to remember that one for a very long time. That was so craftily won. He just saw the opportunity. He knew that Makuris and Greener were going to battle on the last lap. He sensed that they were going to get close at the Stratford hairpin, hung back on the way in, accelerated out and stormed down the runway straight and took the lead. Brilliant from Bart Harrison. One of the most opportunistic victories you're ever going to see in British karting, and pure genius. He absolutely did the business, and the team are running to greet him. The two juniors, Tom Edgar and Georgia Dimitrov, are going to celebrate with Bart Harrison in the pit lane. What a moment. A lot of people would have said, well, it's going to be close in Mini X30, and they would have had a short list of drivers who would have won the race. But perhaps Bart Harrison might not have been on that short list. But I tell you what, he's totally deserved the victory. What a drive and a fabulous, fabulous race from Bart Harrison. Such a worthy winner. Well, as they celebrate and enjoy the moment, and we'll allow them to do that, we've got the IAME Cadet race coming up next, and that's going to be just as intense a battle. The story so far in IAME Cadet is a very familiar one. Kian Nakamura Berta has had 2 heats and 2 victories. He starts from pole position. So far, so good. Alongside him on the grid with a win and a third is Brandon Carr. Then it's Aidan Neate, who was the fastest in qualifying, in 3rd position. And alongside him on the grid is another Oliver Rowland Motorsport driver, Harry Junior Burgoyne. So it's Fusion, ORM at the top 4. Then ORM from Fusion, Harley Keeble in 5th, and the amazing Ella Stevens. This is her coming-of-age weekend. She's done an amazing job so far, a 2nd and a 4th place. It's time for her to emerge as a permanent fixture at the top end of the IAME Cadet grid. Great to see her in the top 6. Then it is Sonny Smith with Maximus Hall, the Gladiator, still prominent in the top 10. Leo Robinson in 9th position, and Nathan Ty Jr. rounding out the 10. The next man in is the Canadian Hadi Mamasi, who's had a great weekend so far. Good to see him really punching above his and potentially his previous weight. Really looking very good indeed. Alongside him is Archie Clark, who had a strong day yesterday, a frustrating one today, but still with plenty of chances to move his way forward. Cahal Clark in 13th is next, along with Ethan Jeff Hall, the Strawberry Racing driver. Then it's Lewis Werrell, who qualified well and had a difficult second heat, so he's in 15th place. Watch him charge through. Then Sebastian Mins from Vinnie Phillips and the boxer Kai Baccini. He had a great first heat. The second heat, a bit of a tricky one, down to 18th for him. Monde Junior Canini, who was fastest in his qualifying group, is 19th on the grid after a difficult second heat. And then Sam Lewis is 20th on the grid. From Mason Rudman, Dan Sofronea, Zach Knight and Macaulay Bishop, the privateer, Will Knight and Finn McLaughlin, Eden Spanswick and Sky Parker, Jack Cunningham and Lewis Bird, from George Edgar, Ben Smith, Jack Mowat and Fraser Anderson. That's your 34. All 34 drivers in IAME Cadet managing to make it through, based on the fact that only 34 drivers were on the entry list. So great to see them all battling away for supremacy in this IAME Cadet race. And it's going to be quite a strong battle from them as they get themselves prepared for the action once again. The drivers will obviously want a fast and furious race, and they're going to get one in the IAME Cadet final with Kian Nakamura Berta and Brandon Carr on the front row of the grid. The gate goes up, and it's time to go racing once more for the last time this weekend for IAME Cadet. Kian Nakamura Berta, pole position for Japan. Brandon Carr second. Then Aidan Neate and Harry Junior Burgoyne. Then Harley Keeble and Ella Stevens, Sonny Smith and Maximus Hall, Leo Robinson and Nathan Ty, from Hadi Mamasi and Archie Clark, Cahal Clark and Ethan Jeff Hall, Lewis Werrell and Sebastian Mins, Vinnie Phillips, Kai Baccini, MJ Canini, Sam Lewis, Mason Rudman, Dan Sofronea, Zach Knight, Finn McLaughlin, Eden Spanswick, Sky Parker, Jack Cunningham, Lewis Bird, George Edgar, Ben Smith, Jack Mowat and Fraser Anderson. So they're on the Hangar Straight already. A very short lap, of course, here in Shenington. But what a battle it's going to be now as they prepare for the action and the drama to begin. It is going to be tight. It is going to be ridiculously close. But then that is IAME Cadet all over. They come out of the final turn. Nakamura Berta and Brandon Carr, the revs rise. Is it going to be a clean start? Looks like one to me. And they charge forward round the outside. Brandon Carr's going to try and get on the inside line for Kian Nakamura Berta. No, it's a false start. False start. So they will go round again. Well, that was looking pretty exciting up until that point, and then they suddenly realised it's not a good start, so they are going to have to go around again. As if the tension and the drama wasn't already fever pitch, and it certainly is. Kia Nakamura-Berta now having to control the pace from the front once again on another rolling lap. And of course, another rolling lap at Shenington means one more lap on those tyres in the heat when it's going to get quite tricky towards the end of the race. Even in IAME Cadet, the tyres are going to be very tricky in the closing stages, and it's going to be about which of these youngsters can hang on to their tyres the best, look after them through the course of the race, and then take advantage of the opportunities that open up in the final lap. You have to wait and see, but it's going to be very tight. Nakamura-Berta, Carr, Neat, Burgoyne, Keeble, Stevens, Smith, Hall, Robinson, Ty. Is this going to be a clean start? Looks like it will be. Across the line. This time we're away and up on the inside. Kia Nakamura-Berta is going to get the lead. And second position is going to be Aidan Neat. Cracking start. Hadi Mamasi goes over the curb and into Nathan Ty Jr. But there's no major problems as they come off the corner and up towards the hairpin for the first time. What a start from Aidan Neat, though. Breaks in front of Brandon Carr and gets into that second position spot. Nicely done in the first corner, and now the two of them are threatening to break clear already. Kia Nakamura-Berta and Aidan Neat are out in front, charging their way further forward. Have we got somebody off at the hairpin? No, it's a perfectly clean start for the moment. Through the Bruno chicane, and still no major dramas as they come up towards Wilkins for the first time. It is still Kia Nakamura-Berta from Aidan Neat, the Fusion Motorsport teammates, running beautifully at the strong end of the field. They come over the line, and it's the Japanese driver in front of Aidan Neat. They come through the first corner, up towards the hairpin. Nicely done so far. Third position is Brandon Carr in front of Harley Keeble and Sonny Smith. Then it's Ella Stevens in front of Maximus Hall, the Gladiator. Then it is the 37 of Leo Robinson from Burgoyne, Clark, Mimasi, Conini, Ty, Clark, Phillips, Jeff Hall, Rudman, McLaughlin, Werrell, Zach Knight, McCorney Bishop, Will Knight, and then Spanswick and Co. It's going to be a really exciting battle throughout this race, and it looks as though we've had a couple of drivers down the order. Sebastian Mins and Kai Bacchini are now at the very tail end of the field, unfortunately, so they've got some time to make up. You've got to feel for Kai Bacchini. He's not had a great weekend. The boxer and the BBC Young Sports Commentator of the Year from 2018 really struggling here this weekend. Off the hairpin, back on the power again, and this has become a bit of a freight train. The leaders have been caught already by the ORM trio. And that's Aidan Neat in front. Oh, there's a bit of a shoving match. Kia Nakamura-Berta getting some hassle from Brandon Carr, Harley Keeble and Sonny Smith. But Aidan Neat is the one in front. So Aidan Neat is at the front of this race. Fastest of all in qualifying. Can he win the final? This would definitely give his championship plenty of momentum. Kia Nakamura-Berta trying now to work with Aidan Neat. He knows that the threat from behind is going to be massive as Maximus Hall has got himself up into third position. Good move forward from him in front of Ella Stevens and Leo Robinson. Then it's Nathan Ty Jr. by the look of it in ninth position. Both Ella Stevens and Nathan Ty Jr., former Birolite UK Cadet champions, now known as the Daniel Ricciardo Series, of course. And they're both right at the sharp end in the top 10 of the mix. In the British Championships too. Aidan Neat leads the way. Kia Nakamura-Berta in second. The Japanese star has been so strong in the first part of the season. He's not going to get through on Aidan Neat yet as Maximus Hall has got past Sonny Smith. Next up is Ella Stevens. She's going to have a crack at Sonny Smith now. They go up towards Stratford hairpin. But Ella Stevens goes really well at Shenington. She just seems to have it nailed around this circuit. And she's up the inside. And Sonny Smith and Ella Stevens have both got past Maximus Hall. So they're up to 5th and 6th. Smith and Stevens. Through to the chicane, out of Bruno, and down the back stretch. Aidan Neat is still your leader. Kia Nakamura-Berta in second. Third place, Brandon Carr. Fourth position, that is Harley Keeble. The top four, very much the familiar top four in this category. They haven't really lost ground much over the course of the season. And they are the four we expected to be controlling the pace out front. But Aidan Neat leads the race. Kia Nakamura-Berta in second. Then it is Brandon Carr in front of Harley Keeble. Ella Stevens now 5th. She's got past Maximus Hall. What's happened to Sonny Smith? Well, he's fallen behind Archie Clark, Leo Robinson and Harry Jr. Burgoyne. Then it's Smith, then Nathan Ty Jr. and Vinnie Phillips, who's fought his way back into 11th position. So that is a good run. Hadi Mamasi has been a victim of Vinnie Phillips on that first corner. But Neat and Kia Nakamura-Berta are charging their way ahead of the pack and hoping to get well clear of third and fourth. Brandon Carr and Harley Keeble. Ella Stevens joining the gap And this weekend, she is definitely the one of the head of the trio of the Fusion Motorsport squad. She just has it here. She's got so much speed, so much potential, and you never know, she could come through and get on the podium of this final, may even win it. So still Aiden Neate and Kian Nakamura-Berta fighting away for victory. Third position, Brandon Carr. Harley Keeble's lost some momentum. Leah Robinson's going to lose a few places. Harry Junior Burgoyne and Sonny Smith both get past at Cafe. But down to the hairpin. No change between the two leaders. They cannot afford to let Civil War break out too early. We've still got 10 minutes and 20 on the clock, plus the additional bonus lap. So there will be some tough races to come, but these guys need to keep the faith. They need to keep pushing. But Aiden Neate, Kian Nakamura-Berta and Brandon Carr have now broken clear. Meanwhile, Ella Stevens is up to 5th position, as we know, and challenging Harley Keeble and down the inside. And Ella Stevens goes through in Hanger Corner, up to P4. Nice work. So now it's Aiden Neate who leads, Kian Nakamura-Berta second, then Brandon Carr, Ella Stevens and Harley Keeble. Over the line. Aiden Neate still your race leader from Kian Nakamura-Berta. Careful, guys. Do not let these cracks get bigger as Archie Clark breaks through now into 4th position. What a turn of events this has been for Ella Stevens and Archie Clark in the last few weeks. These two have suddenly become front runners in the Fusion Brigade, and they do not want to lose ground. Archie Clark was momentous yesterday, got a 2nd place in one of the heats. Ella Stevens got a 2nd place earlier today. So those two Fusion drivers definitely making progress. Brandon Carr, though, in 3rd position. He's already got a win in his pocket today. So Brandon Carr knows how to get the job done. But can he beat Aiden Neate, fastest in time qualifying, and Kian Nakamura-Berta, the winner of both his heats earlier on today? Down to Wilkins, through the hairpin, back on the power. Still no change in the top 3. Still plenty of time to go. Over the line, Aiden Neate still runs well. Kian Nakamura-Berta second, but Brandon Carr a little bit closer this time than he was. As up the inside, Harley Keeble gets Archie Clark back, and Harry Junior Burgoyne makes the move on the inside of Maximus Hall. Hall runs out wide, Smith's going through, Robinson's going through. They rub wheels, and they're going to be side by side. But unfortunately for Maximus Hall, he has to let Leah Robinson go. Still no change at the front end of the field. Aiden Neate controls the pace. Kian Nakamura-Berta second. Third, Brandon Carr. Then it's Ella Stevens in 4th in front of Archie Clark, who's got back into 5th position. Not bad. And definitely the blood runs thick in the veins of motorsport for the Clark family. His grandfather was the great Roger Clark. So through out of the hairpin, back onto the home straight. And what a battle this is turning into up front. It's now the 3 of them locked together. They're not in the same team, all of them. Aiden Neate and Kian Nakamura-Berta are on the Fusion karts, 1 and 2. But then in 3rd, Brandon Carr still trying to edge away. Behind them, it's the same story with 3 different drivers. Fusion, ORM, Fusion, ORM in the top 6. And on a weekend when Oliver Rowland has been very successful in Formula E out in Monaco, there's 2 main challengers in the top 6 fighting for the victory. This is what he will have wanted to see. And no doubt he'll be keeping abreast of what happens over the course of the next few minutes. So let's see how things go for the top 3. Kian Nakamura-Berta still trying to get past teammate Aiden Neate, whilst also trying to get away from Brandon Carr. Then Ella Stevens and Archie Clark are having a great race in 4th and 5th in front of Harley Keeble. 6 candidates for the victory, all still with a chance to do it. Harley Keeble, though, slowly starting to fall off the back of Stevens and Clark, who are working together. Ella Stevens and Archie Clark, 4th and 5th, are now stretching away from Harley Keeble. This is not good news for Keeble, but it's great news for Stevens and Clark as they start to edge towards the back bumper of Brandon Carr. No major changes yet. But up at the front, it's still Aiden Neate from Kian Nakamura-Berta. The Japanese driver may get a little bit impatient soon. Brandon Carr has got a real tough job here in 3rd position. No teammates to assist. He's got to just take the bull by the horns and go for it. And Brandon Carr has plenty of experience to go for it. A former SK USA Winter Tour winner over in Florida in the United States. Proof that the British talent really is internationally fantastic. But Brandon Carr looking for a British win. A British win is almost as valuable as a European one, as Archie Clark makes the move on Ella Stevens for 4th. So Archie Clark dives up the inside and takes the place from Ella Stevens. Behind them, in 6th place is Harley Keeble. Then it's Maximus Hall, Harry Junior Burgoyne, Sonny Smith, and rounding out the top 10 is Leah Robinson. Then it is Ty, Phillips, Mimasi, Jeff Hall, Bishop, McLaughlin, Canini, Rudman, Lewis Werrell, Zach Knight, Sofranea and Sky Parker. Still these three run at the front. No major concerns, no major issues. And still, we have a long way to go in this race. 5 minutes 45 plus the additional lap. Long races in IAME Cadet. For these guys, it will be so exhausting, so tough, so tense, physically and emotionally draining. But these guys are coping with it stupendously. Great to see them do such a good job. So Aiden Neat into the first corner, part bend. Glued to the back bumper is Kia Nakamura Berta with Brandon Carr of ORM in third position. Then Archie Clark and Ella Stevens. Harley Keeble in some trouble. Maximus Hall is all over the back with Burgoyne, Sonny Smith, Leo Robinson, Nathan Tye Jr. and Vinnie Phillips all in pursuit. Out of the Stratford hairpin. Aiden Neat and Kia Nakamura Berta with Brandon Carr still glued to them. No major problems for these guys. They're just continuing to count down the laps. No need to battle for victory. Just keep it going. But what will Brandon Carr do? Will he become the problem for Fusion Motorsport at this stage? 1 and 2 they are. Well, actually, Brandon Carr got a little bit of a mistake out of the Brunner chicane. Actually ended up losing a couple of kart lengths to them. Ran a bit too far over the curbs. But the good thing is, from his point of view, Kia Nakamura Berta and Aiden Neat are still holding each other up at the moment. As much as they try and get away from Brandon Carr. Brandon is still right there in third position. No change. Aiden Neat is your race leader. 4 minutes and 30. Motor racing blood courses through Aiden Neat's veins as well, of course. His father, Andy Neat, is the former Britcar 24-hour and British Touring Car Championship racer. So Andy will be watching very, very keenly at the sidelines as Aiden pushes very hard indeed. And Aiden Neat is definitely on the march for a British Championship race win. But Kia Nakamura Berta still giving him plenty of momentum. Still pushing very hard indeed. It's not going to be too easy for these two to separate. They're going to be very close. Ella Stevens playing the long game here. She's being very smart and working with fourth placed Archie Clark to close in on the leading three. Once the battle starts up front, both of those two could end up with a podium place if they just stay hungry, stay motivated and stay focused. You never know what's going to happen. For sixth position, it's an absolute dogfight. It's up the inside. Sonny Smith makes the move on Maximus Hall. The Gladiator is vanquished for the moment, down to seventh position. Then comes the 72 of Burgoyne. And Harley Keeble is in the midst of all of that. Unable to run at the front end of the field, sadly. It was looking very good for him at the early stages, but Harley Keeble struggling to make these tyres last. Well, if the championship continues as it is, then Kia Nakamura Berta is going to be 20 points ahead of Aiden Neat in the Drivers' Championship heading to the next weekend. So no wonder Aiden Neat wants to beat Kia Nakamura Berta to get that gap down as big as humanly possible. If Aiden Neat wins this race, then he will move into second place in the Drivers' Championship with Brandon Carr only 1 point behind him if he stays third. So this is very tight at the front end of the field. But all of these drivers know that all it takes is one incident, one scrap, one mistake, and it can change the course of everything. Ethan Jeff Hall making a move on Harry Jr. Burgoyne further back with Hadi Mamasi, the Canadian, in tow. The leaders come off Stratford hairpin. Down runway. Up towards the Bruno chicane again. Hoping there's going to be a move up the inside. So far so good. Brandon Carr looks for an opportunity. And as they come through one more time, this is not going to be easy for Brandon Carr. He knows that these two have had many battles before. And it hasn't always been very fluid between teammates in cadets. If anything, it's always a little bit more rough tumble because everybody wants to win. And as soon as the last lap begins, it doesn't matter who you're racing with. It could be a teammate, it could be a back marker. Up the inside, Kia Nakamura Berta tries, but Aiden Neat holds the door firmly shut. So Aiden Neat knows that the battle is imminent. We're into the last 2 minutes of time. Archie Clark and Ella Stevens still staying hungry in fourth and fifth. Harley Keeble's getting back into it. He's come back up to sixth place in front of Sonny Smith. And at the hairpin, Brandon Carr's getting a little bit frustrated. He's in there along with Kia Nakamura Berta. He's getting alongside. Come on, guys, get on with it. We've got guys behind us. I'm not losing a podium place. Can you hurry up? Off Bruno chicane. Nakamura Berta trying to get on the switchback beside Aiden Neat. Brandon Carr going with them. It's stalemate again into Hangar Corner. But Nakamura Berta trying to get on the inside. That's Brandon Carr making his first big lunge to come through. And is Brandon Carr in a second position? They're going to be side by side, the two Fusion drivers. Brandon Carr's going to try and sweep right round the outside. And Kia Nakamura Berta and Aiden Neat switch back, and Brandon Carr gets them both. Brandon Carr. The way is clear for him to lead. This is exactly what I said. The two Fusion drivers bang wheels, and that's enough for Brandon Carr to sweep by and get the lead. Civil war is never good in IAME Cadet. And Brandon Carr has swept through to the lead, but now Nakamura Berta back through to the inside line, takes the place back. Now Kia Nakamura Berta trying to switch back with Aiden Neat. They bang wheels again, and here comes Archie Clark. Archie Clark's got great momentum. He's going to get through on Kia Nakamura Berta. Ellis Stevens is going to get through into fourth position. And now all of a sudden, it's a five-way fight for the victory with 2 laps to go. It's still not done. This is all going to be about tyres. How have they looked after them in the last few laps? But Brandon Carr is leading Fusion Motorsport Squadron. Cannons to the left of him, cannons to the rear, and he is still charging hard. Brandon Carr running out in front of Aiden Neat. Third position is Archie Clark. Fourth is Ellis Stevens, and down to fifth has gone Kia Nakamura Berta. Now that's definitely helped Aiden Neat out championship-wise, but being down at the back of Brandon Carr has not. So Aiden Neat would now only be fourth in the Drivers' Championship. He needs to win. And he's going to make the lunge now down the hanger straight. Archie Clark, Ellis Stevens and Kia Nakamura Berta still there, third, fourth, fifth. Is there going to be a move for the victory? It's going to need to come soon. They're going to get down to Wilkins, and it's going to be so tight. They are about to start the last lap. It's going to be very close indeed. Here they come. The last lap board is out. And now, this is the lap they've got to win. Aiden Neat holds the inside line. Archie Clark tries to come round the far side. Up the inside of Ellis Stevens goes Kia Nakamura Berta. He gets into fourth position. Ellis Stevens still in the hunt. Oh, and a spin further back, Leah Robinson. Leah Robinson spins at Cafe. But the leaders are dueling for the victory. Here we go. Brandon Carr trying to hold it to the inside. So far, so good. Kia Nakamura Berta's driven round the outside of Neat and Clark. Ellis Stevens now on the inside of Archie Clark in a fourth position. So Kia Nakamura Berta comes back to second. But they've got 3 corners to go. Down the back straight. Nakamura Berta's got to run on Brandon Carr, but Carr is holding the inside line. Watch for Aiden Neat in third. There's still a chance. He's going to get to the inside of Wilkins. They go through the hairpin. It's going to be tight together, but they're not all going to get through in one piece. Across the line, side by side to the flag, it's Brandon Carr. Brandon Carr has done it. Amazing. Brandon Carr is the star. Superb job from the Oliver Rowland Motorsport driver, and he's absolutely euphoric. Brandon Carr has done it. What a drive. Kia Nakamura Berta and Aiden Neat are second and third. Career bests in the final for Ella Stevens and Archie Clark in the top 5. Welcome to the big show, guys. But what a race. And it was such a do-or-die final lap. Absolutely terrific. So we know the top 5. It's Brandon Carr, Kia Nakamura Berta, Aiden Neat, Ella Stevens and Archie Clark. Nathan Tye comes through to 6th position. What a little hero in the final few laps. Up to P6. Harley Keeble is 7th from Vinnie Phillips. Great drive back from him. Sonny Smith is 9th. Ethan Jeff Hall is 10th. Then it's Maximus Hall from Harry Mamassi. Harry Jr. Burgoyne from Macaulay Bishop. Finn McLaughlin. Both Bishop and McLaughlin making up at least 10 places. MJ Canini 16th. From Leah Robinson and Zach Knight. Mason Rudman and Sebastian Mins. Lewis Werrell. Cahal Clark. Dan Sofronea. Will Knight and George Edgar. Then Eden Spanswick and Sam Lewis, Sky Parker and Lewis Bird, from Ben Smith, Kai Bacchini, Jack Cunningham, Fraser Anderson and Jack Mowat. All of them started, finished, and after 19 brilliant laps, it's Brandon Carr at the top spot. Well, that was truly fantastic racing at the front. Really, really sensational motorsport. And all 5 of them absolutely together at the line. 5 drivers, half a second. That's IAME Cadet at its best, ladies and gents. And all 5 of them have earned their place in the top 5 with some fantastic racecraft and brilliant battling. Hopefully there is no front-fairing penalties to speak of. But what an incredible battle. Really good racing all round from IAME Cadet. So now there are just 2 races to go this afternoon. And the next one is Junior X30 after what has already been a very intense battle for the juniors today. They've got another one coming up. And on pole position, it's the Italian stallion, Alessandro Serenetti, in pole position after 2 clean sweeps at the front end of the field. He's been absolutely superb this weekend. Absolutely flawless so far today. Dealt with qualifying very admirably. Got himself at the sharp end and has now taken 2 heat victories. So from pole position, it's up to him. Alongside him on that front row of the starting grid, it is Josh Rowledge, having been very quick in qualifying, fastest of all, in fact, and he will be there from the outside of the front row. Oliver Behrman, he was fastest of his time group in qualifying and has been very solid throughout the races. He starts from 3rd position after a 2nd and a 3rd. Tom Edgar, with a 2nd and a 4th, will start from 4th position. The Northern Irishman will be there in the top 5. Oliver Gray and Archie Walker, an all Dan Holland Racing, all Alonso 3rd row. For Oliver Gray, it's business as usual. For Archie Walker, it's a changing of the guard. It's great to see him up at the sharp end, where he so thoroughly deserves to be. Can he stay there in this final? Alex Lee and Georgi Dimitrov, the championship leader, down in 8th position on the starting grid for this one, with Reggie Dewey and Aaron J. Walker in the top 10. Then Aaron Walker of Strawberry Racing, notice the subtle difference, in 11th position. He is the Strawberry driver. Then Sam Shaw is 12th position, hoping to fight back after a disappointment yesterday. Then it is Caden McQueen in 13th after a miserable qualifying. Didn't even set a lap time, essentially, and has had to fight his way back from 41st on the grid. Where is he? 13th. That is very impressive indeed, and you cannot count him out of a shot at the victory. Sam Hawthorne in 14th from Tyler Reid and James Walker. Then Josh McLean and Zach Meakin makes it an all-fusion 9th row. Freddie Spindlow is 19th and Tom Leben is 20th. Then it's Japan's Douglas Bolger in 21st along with Darrell Taylor. Will Murdoch and Sam Heading come next. Then Kalai Atkins, the Jamaican for crop promotion, is there beside Ivan Lomliev. Then it's Joseph Taylor and the Polish racer Kasper Skuza. The Welshman Max Meir and Blake Anglis are next up in the mix after their battles in the race. My apologies, that's not the positions they are in. They are in 31st and 32nd, which is 3rd and 4th aggregate from the repechage, if you take my meaning. So ahead of them, it's Marcus Littlewood, who won the repechage, and Charlie Cole 2nd. He's 30th on the grid. Then Max Meir, Blake Anglis, and rounding out the grid, it's Drew Davidson and Jamie Mead in the top 6. So for the 2nd day running, Harvey Ryby getting himself into the top 6 in the final lap of the repechage and having a penalty post-race. Bitter, cruel luck for Harvey Ryby, but hopefully in the 3rd weekend of the championship, he will be back. So very exciting racing from the drivers in the Junior X30 battle, but from pole position, it's all down to Seranetti. What can he do from the inside of the front row of the grid? The pressure is high, but he knows what to do. He's won here twice already today. All he has to do essentially is the same again. But that's easier said than done, especially when you've got such a wealth of talent on the grid directly behind you and beside you. Josh Rowledge, Oliver Behrman, Tom Edgar, Oliver Gray, Archie Walker, Alex Lee, Georgi Dimitrov, Reggie Dewey and Aaron J. Walker in the top 10. That is enough talent to be really sweating. So let's see how they will go from the front end of the grid. Nigel Edwards will give them the signal from the edge of the pit gate when they are ready to start racing. And then we'll have once more 15 minutes of the Shenington circuit plus 1 lap. That doesn't sound like much in layman's terms, but in karting, it's an eternity. The drivers love the long races, but on days like today, when the air temperature is as high as 15 degrees Celsius, the track temperature, you very nearly need to double that in the sunshine, and that means that the tyre management becomes critical. It is really crucial to get this right. So the drivers will all know how to make these things work. They will have looked after the tyres as much as physically possible over the course of the day, but the final is where it comes good. Those drivers that have experience on worn tyres are going to be very much at an advantage come the final 2 to 3 minutes of the race, because they will know just how slippery, how treacherous and how tricky it's going to be at the heat of the moment. So these are the guys that are really going to make a bit of a play for it. So we've got a very exciting couple of podiums now. Mini X30 and IAME Cadet all finished. Those results are being declared as official shortly, we hear. But now we are going to have an amazing battle for Junior X30. And what a battle. There's so many drivers in the top 10 that can win it, and a few outside who have a chance to fight forward. Don't forget what yesterday Caden McQueen managed to achieve. He still has a chance to win, even though from 13th on the grid. All he has to do is make up some good positions on the first lap, and he's right in the hunt. It's a long, long race. 15 minutes plus the additional lap. So depending on how they cross the line, that ends up being around about 17 minutes of racing. So they've got so much work to come, and it's going to be very tight and very tricky. But that's what we love about the British Kart Championships, especially now we get to the business end of the weekend for junior and senior. The Senior X30 race will be straight after this one, but Junior X30 have obviously got a lot to put onto the table here, and they will be pushing hard for the rest of the weekend. They've only got 15 minutes plus the additional lap left of it to run, but you can bet they will be absolutely charging. It's been a very exciting start to the season in the IAME classes after PF International 4 weeks ago, and then here at Shenington Kart Racing Club. They've obviously got a very busy season over the course of the year, but for those who are interested in where they will continue after this point, well, when we leave here, we move on to Larkhall in Scotland at Strathclyde, the West of Scotland Kart Club, which of course it's had its refurbishment for the 2019 season, and we're all really excited to go there on the second weekend of June. It's going to be a fantastic weekend for the championship. For those who are keen to hear news of the Rotax and TKM calendars, well, the Rotax Championship moves over to Rowra in 2 weeks from now. And that will be obviously a fantastic event for the Rotax crew. And then next week, the TKM Honda calendar continues over at Little Rissington in Gloucestershire. So we're looking forward to seeing how the British Kart Championships continue. Next week, it'll be Alex Goldschmidt in the commentary box over the course of that weekend for the TKM and Honda meeting. So apologies, I can't be with you next time, but I will make sure I return as quickly as humanly possible. In fact, my next meeting is said to be Larkhall. So I'll be there for the IAME rounds once again. So the drivers are ready in position, just waiting for the final signals. And the number 6 on pole position, Alessandro Serenetti, and the 14 alongside Josh Rowledge. For the BKC Racing and Strawberry Racing squads are ready for action. But for all the drivers behind, it is going to be very tight indeed. Third position on the grid, Oliver Behrman. Fourth on the grid, Tom Edgar. Four different teams in the top 4 positions on the starting grid. And in fact, it's very nearly 4 different chassis. The Xspirit chassis of Alessandro Serenetti, the Tony Kart of Josh Rowledge, and the Cosmic of Oliver Behrman. The symmetry in the top 4 slightly spoilt by the Xspirit chassis of Fusion Motorsport's Tom Edgar. But certainly 4 different teams in the top 4, 5 different teams in the top 5, and we've got 4 different chassis in the top 6. Because, of course, we have the Xspirit twice, we have a Tony Kart, a Cosmic, and thanks to the Dan Holland Racing twins of Oliver Gray and Archie Walker, 2 Alonsos on the third row of the grid as well. It's a very competitive championship in the British Series, and there's obviously going to be plenty to fight for. In 7th on the grid, there's a bit of a dark horse on the grid as well. The Coles Racing driver, Alex Lee, is definitely one of the surprise packages of the 2019 season, and his pace has been meteoric from suddenly being a relatively inexperienced midfielder to be suddenly a front runner, consistently and methodically. He doesn't do these things by accident. He gets himself into the position with methodical, calculated drives, and he's very, very good at seeking an opportunity. Alongside him on the front row, on the 4th row, of the grid, is the current championship leader, and that is Georgi Dimitrov after his clean sweep of finals 4 weeks ago at PF International, where he won both of the finals on the Saturday and the Sunday across the 2 days. But here this weekend at Shenington, the pace has been tricky to keep up with, and they have got a very difficult race ahead of them. But the right person will hopefully come through and take the victory, and the final is about to get underway. We have the update to the timing screens, and Alessandro Serenetti and Josh Rowledge take up their residency on the front row of the starting grid of the timing screens. The gate goes up, and we're now sending them on their rolling lap. So Alessandro Serenetti and Josh Rowledge on the front row from Oliver Behrman and Tom Edgar, Oliver Gray and Archie Walker, then Lee, Dimitrov, Dewey, the Walkers, Aaron J in front of Aaron, then Sam Shaw, Caden McQueen in 13th ahead of Sam Hawthorne. From Tyler Reid, James Walker, Josh McLean, Zach Meakin, Freddie Spindler and Tom Levin. Then Bulger, Taylor, Murdoch, Heading, Atkins, Lomliev, Joe Taylor, Scusa, Littlewood, Cole, Meir, Anglis, Davidson and Jamie Mead. So with the drivers in position, they will filter in out of the Wilkins hairpin. And we're ready very nearly, once they're in position, to go racing. Shenington in pole position from Josh Rowledge in second. Then Oliver Bearman and Tom Edgar. Oliver Gray and Archie Walker. Alex Lee. Georgie Dimitrov, championship leader, is 8th. Then Reggie Dewey and Aaron J. Walker ahead of Aaron Walker and Sam Shaw. It's a cracking start. And it looks as though it's a perfectly clean one. Shenington leads. Rowledge trying to hold off Oliver Bearman through Cafe Corner. Edgar sliding around. Oliver Gray trying to get up the inside. Archie Walker dueling with Georgie Dimitrov. Side by side, and it's a cracking start as they go up to Stratford Hairpin for the first time. Is everybody going to make it through without incident? And no, there is not. It's going to be, I think that's Tom Edgar who's gone out wide. Tom Edgar has gone wide and has ended up several places down the order. Reggie Dewey's been impeded as well. He's not gone off the circuit, but he's lost several places. So a very tricky start for a couple of the drivers in the mix. But out in front, it is the 3 we thought it might be. Shenington, Rowledge and Bearman that have broken clear with a little bit of a breathing space at the front end of the field. But it's Rowledge who leads Bearman. Shenington down to 3rd. Then it is Oliver Gray in front of Archie Walker in 5th position. Tom Edgar, Aaron J. Walker, Aaron Walker and Sam Hawthorne. Oh, there's contact further back. Problems as Bolger comes together with the 11. And it's a very badly damaged kart for Kasper Skuza, the pole. There's no way he's going to be able to keep going. The kart is so badly damaged at the back. It looks as though the axle is bent after contact with Bolger. So 2 or 3 karts came together, and unfortunately as Bolger rejoined, he just caught the side of Kasper Skuza's kart. And it looks like both of them could be in dire straits. Bolger appears to have got going again, albeit down at the back. But Kasper Skuza, there's no way he can finish the race with the kart crabbing like that. So Rowledge, Bearman and Shenington at the front. Archie Walker down to 6th now behind Tom Edgar. And that's a bold lunge on the inside for the 51 of Sam Hawthorne. Caden McQueen's making good progress. He's up to 9th place now. So Caden McQueen still battling forward. But out in front, Shenington's got the move on Rowledge, as too as Bearman. So Bearman is your leader. Shenington 2nd, Rowledge down to 3rd in front of Oliver Gray, Tom Edgar and Archie Walker, with Aaron J. Walker trying to fight his way further forward. Down to the braking zone for the hairpin as Kasper Skuza peels into the pits and retires. No major surprise there with the damage he sustained. What a shame for the Polish star. Bearman still hanging on in front of Shenington as Oliver Gray tries to get on the inside, and now Rowledge is going to force the issue on Shenington. Rowledge through and Gray through as well. The battle continuing through Cafe in the midfield. Lots of great racing and lots of great talent. But not all of them are going to have a positive day at the office by the look of things. Some of them are still struggling for positions. But Bearman leads Shenington. Then it is Oliver Gray in front of Tom Edgar. Josh Rowledge down to 5th. And here comes Archie Walker. Archie Walker's going to try and make his bid now from 6th position. As up the inside, Tom Edgar's trying to make a lunge on Oliver Gray. Josh Rowledge trying to get his way back on the inside of Edgar. Little bit of a rub there on the inside. He can't quite get the move done, though, because Tom Edgar is going to now have to let him go. Rowledge gets the move on the inside line and takes the place. Now Archie Walker's going to step up the attack on Tom Edgar. Meanwhile, in the midfield, Reggie Dewey sliding around there with the 34 of Tom Leben as they continue to dice. But out in front, it is Shenington now in the front end of the field. Bearman is there in 2nd position. And there's a big tussle behind. Gray, Rowledge, Edgar, Archie Walker and Aaron J. Walker. 7 of them in a line with Shenington at the front end of the pack. And this is going to be an absolute barnstormer. A major squabble all the way through. We've nearly had 5 minutes and it feels like we've been at it for at least 10. They're absolutely terrific racing. So, Oliver Bearman still all over the back of Alessandro Shenington. Edgar closes up on Rowledge in the braking zone. Behind this lot, in 8th place, is Caden McQueen with support from Aaron Walker of Strawberry Racing. So there's genuinely a chance for those two still to get back into the action. It's not done yet by any means. Now Bearman is back through. Shenington's going backwards down the order. Bearman's got through. Gray's through. Rowledge through. Edgar through. Archie Walker through. And Shenington finds himself down in 6th position. That's how the momentum favours one over the other. All it takes is one move on the inside line and it all changes hands. But down the straight, Josh Rowledge is hunting the men in front. Oliver Bearman is your leader. Oliver Gray 2nd. Not for long. There goes Oliver Gray. He takes the lead. Bearman in 2nd now. Rowledge, Edgar, Walker, Shenington and Aaron J. Walker. Down the straight again. Down Stratford. Up towards the hairpin. And Bearman's going to get a move on the inside of Oliver Gray. He gets through, Rowledge gets through, and through goes Tom Edgar as well. Now Archie Walker is going to line in behind his teammate Oliver Gray. He's going to support him. And Alessandro Serenetti and Aaron J. Walker are not far away, but they keep squabbling, which means that Caden McQueen and Aaron Walker for Strawberry Racing are catching them at a rapid rate of knots. They are catching ridiculously quickly, and it looks like it could be a 9-car fight for victory very shortly. Down the straight, Oliver Behrman hits the front. Josh Rowledge gets on the inside line. So Josh Rowledge gets to the lead of the race. Tom Edgar now through to third past Oliver Gray. Archie Walker is in 5th place. Lots of great squabbling in the juniors as there's overtakes galore all the way through the field. But Oliver Behrman now hits the front as Josh Rowledge canters back down to 4th position. I can't keep up with it. Oliver Behrman in front of Edgar, Gray, Rowledge, Archie Walker, Serenetti and Aaron J. Walker. Then Caden McQueen and Aaron Walker for Strawberry. They are charging hard and closing up. So they're going to get into position once again. Out of the corner. Oh, that's Behrman on the inside. Defending from Oliver Gray as Tom Edgar holds the line from Rowledge. Archie Walker trying to get through. Serenetti and Aaron J. Walker being held up. And Caden McQueen absolutely rubbing his hands with glee. Down to the hairpin. And yet again, the lead looks set to change. If not, the midfield, the middle of that pack is set to change. Behrman in front of Gray. Then Tom Edgar in 3rd position. Josh Rowledge still very much in contention in 4th from Archie Walker. Alessandro Serenetti. Aaron J. Walker's got Caden McQueen all over the back of him now. Watch for Caden McQueen. He's the danger man in this battle. He's been fighting his way back through the field all weekend, and now he's in the winning fight. So the leaders come through again. Behrman in front of Gray. 3rd is Edgar. Then 4th position, that is Josh Rowledge, a massive tank snapper. Caden McQueen is on the inside of Aaron J. Walker, and that puts him through into 8th position. No, sorry, 7th place. One now behind Alessandro Serenetti as Oliver Gray makes his bid on the inside of Behrman for the lead, and he gets it. Edgar goes through. Rowledge is going to try and get through as well. Behrman, he's absolutely resolute. You're not getting by. Hard problems for Behrman. Looks as though Rowledge has ended up, well, I don't know, there looked like there might have been a little bit of a nudge there in the Bruner chicane. I couldn't quite tell who it was, but it certainly looks as though there's been a bit of a rubbing incident into the chicane. Now, if that's the case, then someone's going to get a front fairing, and that's going to come back to bite somebody later in the race. But Oliver Gray's your leader. Edgar on the inside, and through Rowledge gets on Behrman. Then it's Caden McQueen. He's up to 5th now. He's got past Serenetti, past Archie Walker, and now he's on the back of Oliver Behrman. So Oliver Gray is defending valiantly in the lead of the race from Tom Edgar and Josh Rowledge. Rowledge is still pushing hard. Caden McQueen's up to 4th. He's made the move on Behrman. Caden McQueen is absolutely charging through this field. Meanwhile, what's happening with the championship leader? Well, Georgi Dimitrov is down to 11th place. If the race finishes like this, Caden McQueen is going to tie Dimitrov for the championship lead. If he makes up one more place, Caden McQueen becomes the new championship leader. Hence why he's charging forward. As Tom Edgar tries to hold off Rowledge. Rowledge gets through in a second, in behind Oliver Gray. So Gray's your leader, Rowledge 2nd. Then it's Tom Edgar from Caden McQueen, Oliver Behrman and Archie Walker. The rest of the field now struggling to keep up. Difficulties with the tyres by the look of things. So 7th place is Aaron Walker in front of Aaron J. Walker. Then Alex Lee, who's up to 9th place. Then Dimitrov, Leben and Serenetti. Down the back straight. And Oliver Gray actually has some decent advantage now over his rivals, as the drivers are still battling away for position. Blake Anglis and Max Meir getting very close together, and Douglas Bolger getting back on both of them. So here comes the leader, Oliver Gray, into turn 1. And Rowledge back on the inside of Tom Edgar, gets 2nd position once more. Caden McQueen in 4th position will be loving all of this. Now, Georgi Dimitrov is down to 2nd in the Drivers' Championship as a result of all this. Serenetti's going backwards. Serenetti's got a problem. Serenetti's falling down the order, big style, definitely something wrong with the kart. The man who started from pole position now finds himself down in about 21st position. I think Serenetti is going to be bringing the kart in to retire. He's lost so much time, so much pace, something's not right. What a shame for Serenetti. Pole position is now a distant memory. And we've still got 5.5 minutes to go as Rowledge charges after Oliver Gray. Behrman is back into 4th place. He's got back past Caden McQueen. As up the inside, Dimitrov makes the place on Aaron J. Walker. Now that, I think, means that McQueen and Dimitrov are going to be tied for the lead of the championship again. That's how close it is. And Serenetti continues, but he is going absolutely nowhere. Tumbles down to the back of the field. So Serenetti down in dead last. I'm not sure what it is, but something has definitely gone awry. I wonder if he's got a slow puncture developing as Josh Rowledge gets onto terms with Oliver Gray. He's going to make the move for the lead into Wilkins. Just about hanging on to it, though. Your race leader is still Oliver Gray, but Josh Rowledge isn't going to wait around. Gray holds the inside line. Rowledge can't get through there. Edgar's going to try the switch back out of Cafe, but Rowledge is ready for Oliver Gray on the run down to the Stratford hairpin, and Gray knows that Rowledge is going to be there. Rowledge dives for the inside line and takes the lead. So Gray is going to run wide, down to third, maybe down to fourth, as Oliver Behrman gets through on the inside. Caden McQueen gets through on the inside to fourth position. So Oliver Gray back down to fifth. Alessandro Serenetti comes in, and he's got a puncture, that's why. Right rear puncture. What a shame. Alessandro Serenetti's brilliant day is over. Well, now the leaders continue on their way, and out in front it is Rowledge, but he's got pressure from Tom Edgar now up to second place. So Tom Edgar is now the man of the moment, trying to force his way through. But what a battle this is turning into up front, as Rowledge holds the advantage, but Tom Edgar wants a piece of it, and up the inside goes Behrman. Oliver Behrman goes in as second place. So Oliver Behrman gets the move on Tom Edgar, and that puts him in a second position, nearly into the back of Rowledge, with a little bit of support from Tom Edgar. Goodness me, Oliver Behrman nearly into the back of the race leader. That was how fast they were catching him. Dear, oh dear. They just about bailed out of that one in time. But now we've got a real race on our hands with just 3 minutes on the clock, roughly. A few more seconds to add on. So Behrman all over the back of Josh Rowledge. Caden McQueen still fourth behind Tom Edgar. Oliver Gray and Archie Walker are still in the hunt in fifth and sixth, where they started the race from, in fact. Archie Walker goes the long way round to get a Nissan switchback as McQueen, oh, that's Tom Edgar on Behrman. He gets through to second, McQueen through to third, Oliver Gray trying to get through to fourth. Behrman doesn't let it happen. There's a little bit of contact, but it looks as though Behrman's got away with it. Dear, oh dear. They are so close to the limit on that corner. So now up towards Wilkins, and back down the home straight comes your race leader. For the moment, it is Josh Rowledge. He's got so much pressure from the Ulsterman. In second place, Tom Edgar. Pushing very hard on the back of Josh Rowledge. Then Caden McQueen, set to become the new championship leader by 1 point. But Georgi Dimitrov has been playing the long game, and now his tyres are a little bit better spent than some of the others. So he's going to try and pick off some places. Dimitrov's not done yet, outside the top 6, but he's gaining ground rapidly. Rowledge, Edgar, Behrman makes a move on the inside. Archie Walker has to give best to his teammate Oliver Gray. But there's a proper squabble for fourth place. Behrman, Gray and Archie Walker. Great to see Archie Walker as a permanent fixture at the front end of the field. The young McLaren DNA youngster definitely proving his might here this weekend at Shenington. Now Josh Rowledge is really having to work to keep Tom Edgar at bay. Edgar is losing patience. He wants to get the move. Down to the hairpin. Rowledge again protects the inside line of the hairpin, and here comes Caden McQueen. Watch out, boys. McQueen's going to be on you like a ton of bricks. McQueen on the inside of Edgar, and now it's Rowledge versus McQueen. From last in time qualifying, Caden McQueen is now in second place in the final. Anything can happen from this point on. He's going for Rowledge on the inside and takes it. Brilliant bit of scrap between these two, and still they duel. But Caden McQueen has had to back out of it again. Rowledge is still protecting the inside line like crazy. Caden McQueen still going for it with a minute to go on the time. So McQueen went for the inside line. Rowledge round the outside, held on. Difficult for me to pick that one up, unfortunately. They just disappeared from view at that stage. Round the outside. Josh Rowledge now getting some pressure from McQueen, Edgar and Oliver Gray. They're all in the mix. And who's that up to fifth position? That is Tom Leben. Tom Leben has come up to fifth. He's now in the mix as McQueen tries to get on the inside of Rowledge. Rowledge shuts the door. That looked like McQueen had his hand in the air there. So he's not particularly happy with Rowledge's defensive tactics, and they've got an official down that back straight watching every move. So here comes Rowledge again. McQueen still trying to find a way through on the inside. Watch for Tom Leben though in fifth position. He has looked after his tyres beautifully. And he's out into P5. He could still get a podium here. Round the outside. He's going to go deep into the braking zone and get a switchback on Oliver Gray. He's not quite going to make that one stick, but Caden McQueen's got Tom Edgar all over the back of him as he tries to get back through on Josh Rowledge. Rowledge is really struggling for grip. Caden McQueen doing a great job in second. Can he get through? Up towards Wilkins. No move on the inside just yet. Still trying to make the move as they come through the turn. McQueen having to settle for second for the moment, but there's one more big chance. Last lap. Here we go. And Josh Rowledge has got a massive job to keep them all at bay. McQueen second from Edgar, Gray, Leben. Then it's Behrman in front of Dimitrov and Archie Walker. So Dimitrov is now brutally close to getting the championship lead, but Caden McQueen wants the race win. Here they go, side by side nearly. McQueen trying to get on the inside of Josh Rowledge. He's not going to get there. Now he's got one last chance. He backs off at Bruno Chicane, gets back on the power. Rowledge is going to hold him to it. So what can McQueen do? Round the outside of Hanger he tries. Tom Edgar is in the mix there as well. They come down to the hairpin. I can't see at this point. They're going to have to try and come back off the turn. Is it going to be Rowledge? Yes, it is. Josh Rowledge hangs on. What a drive. Josh Rowledge victorious when it matters. Oh, that was so tight. But Josh Rowledge, like a brick wall, hangs on to the victory. There is no way through for Caden McQueen, but he is the championship leader now in front of Georgi Dimitrov. And what a shake, that handshake, then the two of them afterwards. A fair fight between Rowledge and McQueen. That's brilliant. In fact, Dimitrov got back a couple of places on the last lap. So now McQueen and Dimitrov are tied for points at the top of the standings. That's how close it is. Josh Rowledge and Caden McQueen first and second from Oliver Gray on the podium. Tom Edgar is fourth from Oliver Behrman. Georgi Dimitrov fights back to sixth. Tom Leben, an impressive seventh place. Really good work from him. Almost had a podium on the last lap. Archie Walker in a fine eighth place in front of Aaron Walker and Aaron J. Walker, just to confuse you, in the top 10. 11th is Alex Lee from James Walker, then Josh McLean and Tyler Reed. Freddie Spinlow is 15th from Joe Taylor. Doug Bolger and Sam Hawthorne, then Sam Heading and Darryl Taylor. Reggie Dewey struggling this weekend from Sam Shaw. Max Meir and Jamie Mead, Blake Anglis and Ivan Lomliev. Then Will Murdoch and Marcus Littlewood. Zach Meakin and Charlie Cole from Drew Davidson and Kalai Atkins, with a big problem for Alessandro Serenetti. A puncture putting him out of the race. And Kasper Skuza on lap 2 retires from the race with massive damage to his kart after unfortunately tagging Doug Bolger in the middle part of the race. What a dramatic race this has turned into, and what a fight from Josh Rowledge, and a brilliant victory. There's no two ways about that. That was so hard to win, but he kept the door firmly shut. There was no way he was going to let that victory fall away from him, and he held on beautifully. So Caden McQueen second in the race, but now joint lead of the Drivers' Championship. So when we go to the third weekend at Lark Hall in Scotland, it's going to be quite a show. So that is all she wrote in Junior X30 for this weekend, but the Senior X30 is up next, and it's going to be quite a spectacle. A lot of people have been waiting with bated breath for this final, none the least of whom is myself, because we have two powerhouses of IAME racing at the front row of the grid, and it's going to be quite a spectacle. Although I look in the pit gate and I notice that only one of them is there at the moment. Mark Kimber, IAME Euro Series champion last year, in pole position. Alongside him on the grid now is Danny Curl. Honestly, Danny, I don't need a coronary before the start of the race, mate. But 2017 world champion Danny Curl takes his place on the front row of the grid. It's great to see him back in the British motorsport scene again. He's had a fantastic European career over the last 2-3 seasons. And it's great to see him back in action at his very beloved Shenington circuit. He always goes well here. And it's great to see him at the front end of the field. So, effectively, we've got the two titans at the front end of the field. IAME Euro Series champion Mark Kimber versus 2017 FIA World champion Danny Curl. What a showdown on the front row of the grid. Strawberry Racing versus Jade Racing. And it's Tony Kart versus Birol Art. An amazing spectacle so far between these two today. and they really have taken every advantage possible to make this race their own. 2 wins for Kimber and a win and a second for Danny Curl make them untouchable on the front row. Thomas Turner, though, the O-plate, is there in 3rd position on the comp kart, and he's going to be a very tough man to beat if he gets a good start. If he goes through with Kimber on the inside line, then Mark Kimber will definitely have his work cut out with Thomas Turner on his tail. But then in 4th position on the grid is Chaos Sports Boy Wonder, Clayton Ravenscroft. They're in 4th position on the grid. Multiple titles in the 2018 season, both here and in Europe. Has won several accolades, and in 2019, this could be the season that he really storms the Crows and wins the British Senior Championship. He's got to keep it going. PF International was a good weekend. It's a little tougher here, but he's still there in the top 4 on the starting grid. And after a top 5 finish in the final yesterday, he's still in contention and still leading the Drivers' Championship. So Clayton Ravenscroft is definitely still the man to beat. 5th position on the starting grid is Rory Hudson. What a weekend he's had. The Dan Holland Racing driver has taken the lead mantle of the team this weekend, and he has been very much the fighting force of all the drivers within the squad, and there are a lot of very talented senior drivers at Dan Holland Racing. Rory Hudson has picked up the leader of the pack mantle from that squad in senior and run with it like Billy O, and he's having an amazing weekend. Hopefully it continues, and we could even see him on the rostrum. Alongside him on the starting grid is Matthew Hudson for the Mick Barrett Racing team. And Matthew, again, has really taken the leading team member of Mick Barrett Racing. He's taken that mantle this weekend, and he's doing a fine job of it. So the Hudsons on the 3rd row of the grid. Pure coincidence, of course. They just happen to have similar surnames. Identical surnames, in fact. Rory Hudson and Matthew Hudson will be battling away with plenty of gusto and energy from that 3rd row of the grid. Watch for the man in 7th on the grid, though. The captain of the ship at PF International Racing, it's Oliver Hodgson. He is not just a one-man specialist. You've got to remember that last year he was 3rd in the British Championship. This year he has a chance to go at least 1 better, possibly even 2. And Oliver Hodgson is going to be a driver to be reckoned with over the course of this season. Starting from 7th, he could well be a race winner. Alongside him on the grid, a much better showing from Jensen Brown. Finally, it looks as though that massive streak of bad luck appears to have gone, and he's proving what he can do. And what he can do is rather a heck of a lot, actually. In the top 10, with plenty of speed, lots of perseverance, and he's finally getting the results he deserves at the sharp end. 9th on the grid, it's the Australian talent, Sean Butcher, and he's been absolutely meteoric this weekend. Lots more pace, a 5th and a 9th in the heats, which is impressive when you consider he qualified 20th. So Sean Butcher has been on a fight back ever since this morning, and what a fight back. You have no idea where he's going to finish, and it could well be within that top 3. Alongside him on the grid is the Welsh privateer, Tom Nippers, proving all you need is talent, determination, and sheer grit, and you can run with the big boys. Tom Nippers, definitely a contender in this one. He seems to go very well here at Shenington, and the kart is absolutely how he likes it, so let's see what he can do. All of the drivers have got a big task ahead of them, though. You've got to remember, still, with this Senior X30 race, same length as the others, 15 minutes plus 1 lap. And in Senior X30, you're obviously the older drivers in the field. That means you add more weight to the kart. That means you put more energy and exertion into the karts, and that wears the tyres out faster. In Senior X30, you are definitely going to be tripping the knife edge of what those tyres can really do. And that's where we're going to see some exciting racing come the end. We've already seen some spectacular battles over the course of the day between Danny Curl and Mark Kimber at the front end of the field. The last time, it was Mark Kimber who beat Danny Curl, but you can bet in the final that Danny's not going to come second best if he can help it. He's here to win, and he's here to prove a point. Great to see him back in the British Championships, but Mark Kimber has a title in his mindset. So too, technically, if he goes well here, does Danny Curl. If he gets a victory in the final, you can bet he's going to be back for more when we go to Lark Hall in Scotland. But it'll be a really exciting battle as the championship continues in this Senior X30 final. And we'll see so much terrific racing from them. Outside the top 10, we've got a few big names who will want to charge their way forward as well. Louis Westover, Cole Kilner, Matt Armstrong, Axel Laflamme and Morgan Porter are the next men in, all of whom have a great chance to move forward, particularly Morgan Porter, runner-up in last year's British Championship, wanting to go 1 better
in the 2019 campaign, and with last year's British champion Joe Turney elsewhere, then there is a good chance for him to come through. But he needs to keep solid and consistent throughout the season and hope that he can get in amongst those guys at the front. Matias Zagazeta, the Peruvian, will start from 16th on the grid. It's the Spanish talent Ruben Moya who starts 17th for Pierce Sexton Racing. Derek Morgan in 18th position on the grid from Gus Lawrence, who's really struggled this weekend after his incredible performance at PF International. 2 second places across the 2 finals. Here, he has struggled to stay consistent, and he starts from 19th. Hopefully the final will go better for him. Alongside him on the grid, on the DR chassis, is Ryan Green. Then it's Alex Wang and Lewis Malin from Ben Hodge and Al Patterson, Archie Tillett and Reese Ushijima, then Jack Gordon and Rufus Hunt, and then we'll have the drivers who came through from the repechage. And what a battle it was, if you remember, in that repechage race, where we finally got to see a little bit of solidarity and calm in Senior X30, with the race finally taken in the end after some brilliant performances by Alex Pendlebury. He came through for the win in front of Nelson King, so they are 29th and 30th on the grid. Then Henry Ayres, Harry Barlow, Eduardo Cosseteng, and Abigail Ross gets the last place on the grid with a great fight back in the repechage. So the 34 drivers are ready and locked in position. They will be sent out onto the circuit momentarily. We're just waiting for that command and that signal to come forward. Once it does, we will be ready to race for the last time this weekend. As we keep saying, it's a busy season in the 2019 Motorsport UK British Kart Championships. After this weekend, the championship moves on in 4 weeks' time onto the West of Scotland Kart Club up at Larkhall in Strathclyde in Scotland. And we're all looking forward to heading up there to see what the new circuit configuration will give the IAME classes. They've updated it for this year, and I can't wait to see how good the racing's going to be when we get there. The first British Championship meeting on the new configuration. It's going to be great. Obviously, for the TKM and Honda fans listening in around the world or listening trackside, well, their championship continues next week at Rissington in Gloucestershire. And in 2 weeks' time, the Rotax Championship continues up at Rowrah in Cumbria. But there's still great racing to be had in this Senior X30 final. 15 minutes plus 1 lap. Do the math and change. It probably works out to about 17.5 minutes on the racetrack once the drivers have come through and obviously done their rolling lap as well. And that's very tough in this heat haze that we've got. 14 degrees air temperature, but despite the winds, it is going to be very hot down at circuit level. I would guess that the track temperature is probably around 25, 26 degrees Celsius at this point. And at this height of the day, it's going to be very tricky with those tyres churning around this circuit in the draft, in the tow, and battling their way around the circuit. It's been a very competitive weekend, and we now know that it's going to be closer across the 4 championships than even we anticipated it was going to be across all 4 titles. But it's not quite clear who is going to be the Senior X30 Championship leader at the end of this race. We'll try and find that out when the drivers are sent out onto the circuit. The Shenington Kart Racing Club has entertained us royally for this second round of the championship, and we're very grateful to them for putting on such a fantastic show. And it's going to be a great year, having been to PF International and obviously finishing up here at Shenington. The championship in IAME moves on to Larkhall, to Rowrah, to Three Sisters in Wigan, and to Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire, just down the road from Silverstone. A great season, some fantastic circuits, some great battles set to take place over the course of the 2019 IAME paddock. But now we really get to understand a new chapter of the 2019 season. Mark Kimber versus Danny Curl. IAME Euro champion versus FIA World champion on the front row of the grid. Both with a point to prove, both men wanting to be on the top step of the podium today. And the championship leader in 4th position, Clayton Ravenscroft, adamant that neither one of them is going to get there either. The drivers head out onto the circuit. The pit gate is up, and so they're on their rolling lap already. Very exciting times for the Senior X30 drivers as they head out onto the circuit. Tyres and brakes will need to come up to temperature. But Mark Kimber, Danny Curl, Thomas Turner and Clayton Ravenscroft, with Rory and Matthew Hudson, Oliver Hodgson and Jedson Brown, Sean Butcher, Tom Nippers, Louis Westover and Cole Kilner. From Matt Armstrong, Axel Laflamme, Morgan Porter, Mattia Zagazeta, then Moya, Morgan, Lawrence, Green, Wang, Malin, Hodge, Patterson, Tillett, Ushijima, Gordon Hunt, Pendlebury, King, Ayers, Barlow, Cosseteng and Abigail Ross. The Senior X30 drivers are in their formation at the final hairpin, and it's Mark Kimber, IAME Euro Series champion, versus Danny Curl, the 2017 world champion. Then Thomas Turner, Clayton Ravenscroft, then the Hudsons, Hodgson, Brown, Butcher and Nippers. Here we go, and it's going to be a cracking start from the inside line from Mark Kimber. Danny Curl trying to hang on in front of Thomas Turner. Clean start. Oliver Hodgson trying to sweep round the outside of Ravenscroft, the Cafe corner. Nothing doing, and he has to hold on to the position. They sweep down towards the Stratford hairpin, and it's Kimber in the lead from Curl in second. Thomas Turner still solid in third ahead of Clayton Ravenscroft. The rest of the field pick their way solidly through the hairpin. There's a little bit of a jostle further back in the pack. A couple of drivers in difficulty. Is that Morgan Porter breaking down? I have a feeling that the runner-up in last year's championship is going to cruise in. Morgan Porter is out of the race by the look of it, pulling off at the Bruno chicane. What a disaster yet again for Morgan Porter. He can't believe his luck. So at the end of the first lap, it is Mark Kimber who leads from Danny Curl. Thomas Turner second and Clayton Ravenscroft third. But Morgan Porter's weekend and potentially his championship season are in tatters. Absolutely disastrous for last year's runner-up. But Mark Kimber leads Danny Curl. Third is Thomas Turner, then Ravenscroft. Then it is the Hudsons. Rory in front of Matthew. And then it's Oliver Hodgson in front of, that's Jensen Brown. Then Sean Butcher, Armstrong, Nippers, Westover, Morgan, Kilner, Zagazeta, Axel Flam, Gus Lawrence and Alexander Wang. So the drivers come off the turn, down the main straight. And this is what we came to see. This duel between the European Series title winner and the FIA World Champion from 2017. Mark Kimber of Strawberry Racing versus Danny Curl of Jade. Up to the inside of the hairpin, and Danny Curl's going to make his first overtaking move of the race, and he gets there, and Thomas Turner goes with him. So Danny Curl through to the lead, Thomas Turner through to second, and Mark Kimber slips to third, just in front of the championship leader, Clayton Ravenscroft. So they're going to continue battling away for supremacy. And it looks as though we've got one right at the back in difficulty. That is the 42 of Ben Hodge. So he's had problems. So Porter out and Hodge down at the back of the field. But Danny Curl leads the race from Turner. And that's Ravenscroft through to third. What has happened to Mark Kimber in the early stages? I wonder if he's just being a little bit conservative and trying to rest easy on the tyres. If he just backs off a little way, he can bring himself back into the lead hunt at exactly the right moment. But if he pushes the tyres too hard too soon, then there's a chance where he loses ground and then gains back on Clayton Ravenscroft. So he's up to third position again. That would seem to potentially suggest that maybe that's not his game plan. Maybe he's just had a couple of bad breaks in the first 2 or 3 laps. And he's down to third position now. Ravenscroft trying to help him gain time, because that will help him gain further forward as well. But Danny Curl has now got Thomas Turner underneath him. I did say pre-race that Thomas Turner is going to be a driver to go for a victory today. He will want the battle. He will want the victory. So down to the short hairpin, into Stratford, back on the power again, up the runway straight and into the chicane. This is a good opportunity for Danny Curl to hold on in front of Thomas Turner, but still Kimber and Ravenscroft. Then it is Rory Hudson and Oliver Hodgson, because he's now got past Matthew Hudson, then Sean Butcher, teammates. That's why I got confused. Jensen Brown and Louis Westover, then Armstrong, Morgan, Nippers, the Flam, Kilner, Zagazeta and Lawrence. But Danny Curl leads, Thomas Turner second. Then it is Kimber, fourth Ravenscroft, in front of Hudson, Hodgson, Butcher and Hudson. So Sean Butcher has got past Matthew Hudson now. The Australian making up another place. Some fisticuffs in the lower part of the field. It looked like Ruben Moyer making a brave lunge on Alex Pendlebury in the midfield. But in the top 5, no change. Still Danny Curl leads Thomas Turner. Then Mark Kimber, Clayton Ravenscroft. In 5th, Rory Hudson. 6th is Oliver Hodgson. Then it's Sean Butcher, as Matthew Hudson is slowly starting to fall into the clutches of Jensen Brown and Louis Westover. But out in front, Danny Curl is just getting the job done. He leads the race comfortably. Thomas Turner has been caught, though, by Mark Kimber. So the battle for second place could intensify. And they may want to take the fight to Danny Curl in the lead of the race to see if they can compromise the number 67 out front. But the world champion from 2017 leads the race. And up the inside, that's Mark Kimber and Clayton Ravenscroft, both getting by Thomas Turner. So into first position we know is Danny Curl, but up to second now comes Kimber. Up to third goes Ravenscroft. Arguably the top 3 drivers on the grid in the top 3 positions. I said arguably. I'm not necessarily saying the argument can be won, but it is a very good battle up at the front end of the field between 3 of the top men in this championship. If the race were to finish like this, then Ravenscroft would be the championship leader by 3 points to Kimber, with Danny Curl not even in the top 10 yet, because of course he wasn't present at the first round of the championship at PF International. So here comes the move up the inside. Is that for the lead? Mark Kimber gets through on Danny Curl. Ravenscroft tries to get through as well, has to back down from the fight, and is now in third position still. But Kimber hits the front once more. So Danny Curl is second, Ravenscroft is third, then it's Thomas Turner in front of Rory Hudson, Oliver Hodgson and Sean Butcher, the Australian. Terrific race action and stupendous battles once more as the Senior X30 karts come off Wilkins hairpin and back down the main straight. Is Danny Curl going to get back on the inside of Kimber, or is he now going to let the Strawberry driver do all the work? Through Cafe, back on the power. Ravenscroft is going to charge again onto the back of Mark Kimber. This is going to be some pretty exciting stuff as they continue to duel. They get back onto the power down the back straight and into the Bruno chicane. Oh, very tough in the braking zone as Danny Curl has another attempt on Mark Kimber, but Kimber is able to put the kart in exactly the right place to shut down the attack. Up to the hairpin of Wilkins, trying to get the kart back to roll off the power, blend back on the throttle, back on the main straight. Kimber going well, Danny Curl right underneath him, no change for the lead yet. Ravenscroft right there in third. 3 different chassis in the top 3. 4 different chassis in the top 4. It's Tony Kart leading the way from Birolart, Cosmic and Alonso in the top 4. They come off the hairpin and back down the runway straight up towards Bruno chicane. This fantastic Shenington kart racing circuit on the old grounds of RAF Edge Hill. Fantastic facility this and a great racetrack. It is the Monza of British karting. And it's great to see such amazing duels in the front of the field, in the middle of the field, and towards the lower end. Everybody wants to win their battle, no matter what position it's for. But here is the one with the biggest motivation. These 3, Kimber, Curl and Ravenscroft. The 3 of them absolutely together. This is where the crop of the best talent in Britain is, as Danny Curl has another little bit of a look at Mark Kimber, but isn't able to get the move on the inside line. Either that, or he just decides against it. Into the Bruno chicane, and back on the power down the back straight once more. Kimber is definitely getting some assistance now from Curl, rather than aggression. They're trying to stretch away from Ravenscroft, because that could easily have been an overtake if he wanted to make it one. He had lots of momentum off the Bruno chicane. But again, Danny Curl up the inside this time, and takes the lead. Nicely done from Danny Curl. Well, he's not a world champion for nothing. He storms up the inside, and now Clayton Ravenscroft wants a piece of Mark Kimber. He's going to go for the inside line. Kimber's going to go straight back on the inside of Danny Curl and takes back the lead. Well, if I'm Clayton Ravenscroft, I'm doing exactly what he's doing now. Staying in third position, sitting on the back bumper and letting them duel it out. This is going to be such a race between them. And Ravenscroft actually has the smart strategy here. He could actually get one over on the pair of them. Now, here's an interesting scenario. If Kimber wins the race and Ravenscroft is down in oh! Well, Curl's through and Ravenscroft's through on Kimber. That's the difficulty with not being able to see clearly over the motorhomes down to Wilkins hairpin. Unfortunately, I missed that move, but you saw it quite clearly. Into the hairpin. Danny Curl leads the race from Ravenscroft. Kimber in third. Fourth place is the Alonso of Rory Hudson for Dan Holland Racing. Ravenscroft goes for the lead in Bruno and gets the move. Into the lead goes Clayton Ravenscroft. He was clearly hearing me talk about championship ramifications, because I was going to say, if Kimber wins and Ravenscroft is third, then Kimber takes the lead of the championship by 1 point. Don't think so, says Clayton Ravenscroft. I'm going to win the race and lead the championship, thanks. So he takes back the lead of the race. That's the first time he's led today. He won 2 heats yesterday, and then the final got away from him. But they've been setting him up for this particular challenge. So now he's going to come for it. Danny Curl up the inside of Ravenscroft. He gets through. So does Kimber. So does Hudson. Oh dear. Well, Hudson through in a third position now. He's going to potentially try and have a go at Kimber. Here comes Oliver Hodgson and Sean Butcher now. 6 of them in a long queue. And now 6 drivers are fighting for the victory. Danny Curl in front of Mark Kimber. Then it is Rory Hudson and Clayton Ravenscroft down to 4th. Then it is Oliver Hodgson with assistance from the Australian Sean Butcher. What a race. And now we've got just under 5 minutes plus the additional lap to go. So now we're in the business end of the race. This is a proper battle royale. This is a real Grand Prix, as into the hairpin and onto the straight once again. Side by side nearly, as Butcher tries to get on terms with Oliver Hodgson for 5th position. Ravenscroft has got back through on Rory Hudson. That puts him into 3rd. So now he's charging forward. But for the moment, Danny Curl has got legs on Mark Kimber. A couple of kart lengths is all he needs to hold on to the advantage for the moment. And as they come through over the start-finish line again, it is going to be Danny Curl who controls the pace from Mark Kimber. Ravenscroft 3rd, then Hudson, Hodgson, Butcher. Behind them, that is Jensen Brown and Thomas Turner. Oh, as Derek Morgan makes a big lunge on the inside of Matthew Hudson, and he drops back behind. It's going to be Matt Armstrong, I believe. Meanwhile, Mark Kimber has got right onto the back of Danny Curl once again. Up to the Bruno chicane. This is going to be so tough for the victory. 4 minutes plus the additional lap. Time ticks down. Patience wears thin. Tyres wear thinner. This is going to be a really exciting end to the race, as the drivers are going to get back on terms with each other and a few moves will come. Curl hanging on in front of Kimber. Is there going to be a move on the inside of Cafe? No, because Curl makes sure of that. Holds the door firmly shut to Mark Kimber. Ravenscroft in 3rd. 4th is Rory Hudson, having a great race. This is fantastic for Rory Hudson. He deserves so much to be at the sharp end of Senior X30. He's had no luck recently, but now he is finally at the sharp end of a Senior X30 British Championship race, and he deserves his place at the front. Maybe he can get on the podium, especially if Curl and Kimber start to dice for death. Into Wilkins. Stalemate. Back on the power. Curl and Kimber, still 1 and 2. 3rd, Ravenscroft. 4th, Hudson. Then it is Butcher. The Australian has got through on Oliver Hodgson. So Sean Butcher is now in P5 as he closes up on the gaggle in front. Then in 7th position, that is Louis Westover. So Westover in front of Turner and Jensen Brown. Then it's Morgan, Armstrong, Hudson, Tillett, Lawrence Laflamme, Kilner, Zagazeta, Alex Wang and Tom Nippers, who has tumbled all the way down to 19th. That is Kimber leading. Kimber in front of Curl. Then Ravenscroft 3rd. They go down the back straight. Kimber in front of Danny Curl and Ravenscroft still there in 3rd position. And now it's a 3-way fight with 3 more pretenders to the crown right on their tail. Hudson, Butcher and Hodgson still very close to the leading trio. But now we're into the business end of the race. 2 minutes to go. Kimber hangs on from Danny Curl, Clayton Ravenscroft, Rory Hudson, Sean Butcher and Oliver Hodgson. The 6 of them in a line. What a showdown in the British Championship final this weekend here. Ravenscroft goes the long way round. He's going to try and get the switch back. Oh, that's a brave manoeuvre. Danny Curl gets the lead. Hudson's going to get on the inside of Ravenscroft. They bang wheels, and that's going to let Butcher through to 4th. Ravenscroft down to 5th. Looked to me like they banged wheels down the back straight, and Ravenscroft slips to 5th position, just a whisker in front of Oliver Hodgson. So now he's got to try and fight back from P5. But Danny Curl, crucially, is back in the lead in front of Mark Kimber. 1:25 as they cross the line, plus the additional lap, of course. So I would calculate that we've got about 3 or 4 laps left, depending on when they cross the line. And they'll be doing so flat on the throttle. Here goes Kimber again. Up on the inside of Danny Curl. No chance. You're not getting through there. This is all about patience, speed, discipline, control, poise, guile, determination. And in the top 6, you've got bags of it. Danny Curl leading Mark Kimber. 3rd position, that's Rory Hudson. In front of Sean Butcher, Clayton Ravenscroft and Oliver Hodgson. One of these 6 is going to take the victory by this rate. But it is going to be so tight to figure out who it's going to be. Hudson now in front of Sean Butcher, going for 2nd position, Mark Kimber, but he's not close enough. Less than a minute to go. I think this is going to be the crucial penultimate lap. So Kimber tries to make another crack at Danny Curl up the inside, squabbles down to the braking zone as Ravenscroft this time tries to go the long way round Hudson, and this time he makes it into third position. Ravenscroft into 3. That is amazing. Into P3 once again, and now he's in the hunt for the victory behind Mark Kimber in second and the leader Danny Curl. Now, by my math, that's going to put Ravenscroft and Kimber very close together in terms of points. I think Ravenscroft will just hang on to the lead of the championship, but we go into... Now, that was about a second when they crossed the line. Does that mean we're on the last lap, or have we got another one? We'll have to double check, but I'm not sure whether we've got 2 laps to go or 1 lap to go. Whatever, Ravenscroft is going to come down to the hairpin, trying to get through past Kimber for second, has not made it yet. Danny Curl takes a look over his right shoulder. Kimber and Ravenscroft are still there. I'm watching for the checkered flag, but I think we're going to have to wait another lap for it. Down the back straight. Well, the flag is being prepared, so if it's the case, then Danny Curl has got to hang on for one final hairpin as Ravenscroft comes right round the outside of Kimber into Wilkins. The checkered flag is being waved. Danny Curl is going to get the victory from Kimber and Ravenscroft. What a duel, what a battle, but Danny Curl is back. He is number 1 in Britain again here this weekend at Shenington. And what a superb drive from the world champion. Would you have expected anything less than his best? Superb race. Second position for Mark Kimber. Third for Clayton Ravenscroft. And that means that he leads the championship by 2 points heading to Lark Hall. Fantastic racing. Rory Hudson, a brilliant 4th position in front of Sean Butcher. Great racing from both of them. Oliver Hodgson comes through for 6th in front of Louis Westover. Another good fight back to 7th. In 8th place is Thomas Turner from Jensen Brown and Derek Morgan, who fights through to the top 10 after starting 18th. 11th is Matt Armstrong in front of Archie Tillett, who makes up 13 places to get there. Matthew Hudson and Gus Lawrence from Cole Kilner and Matthias Zagazeta. Axel Laflamme and Alex Wang from Lewis Malin and Eduardo Cosateng, who makes up 13 places to be 20th. Then it is Reese Ushijima from Nelson King, Al Patterson and Alex Pendlebury, Ryan Green, Abigail Ross, who storms up to 26th, Jack Gordon and Ruben Moyer, Rufus Hunt, Henry Ayers, Harry Barlow and Ben Hodge with the 2 retirements, Tom Nippers on the final lap, and Morgan Porter out on lap 1. Big drama from this race then in Senior X30, and the championship rolls on with another fantastic chapter written, and the title fight between Clayton Ravenscroft and Mark Kimber is just 2 points in it as we go to Lark Hall. So fans of the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships will be glad to hear that next week we go to Rissington in Gloucestershire as we continue the TKM and Honda Championships and begin the British KZ2 Championship fight. It's going to be amazing, and we've even got stars not just from Britain but all over Europe, including Fabian Federer will be in town. It's going to be great to see what happens at Rissington in a week's time. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Alex Goldschmidt to talk you through that over the weekend. But the IAME classes will be back at the West of Scotland Kart Club at Lark Hall in Strathclyde in Scotland next month, where the championships in IAME Cadet, Mini X30, Junior X30 and Senior X30 will continue. I'm Jake Sanson. It's been an amazing day at Shenington. A massive thank you to everybody on the Motorsport UK team, everyone at the Shenington Kart Racing Club, and to all of you for being part of the meeting. We'll see you again for more IAME action next month. We'll be back at Rissington for the KZ2, TKM and Honda Championships next week at Rissington. See you all soon.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.